Heck
Hey!
yeah. Hey, what's up?
That worked better than I thought it would.
I know, right? It's great when things work like they should.
Hello to everybody out there in internet land. This is welcome to Frankenstein House, where I and Bon over here talk about comic books, sort of. Mostly we just get drunk and babble about Freddy Krueger, but in the middle of that, comic books.
Somewhere in there, there's we talk about comics occasionally.
Yeah.
Mostly Freddy Krueger and most of the time Stuart Townsend. So I mean, he can feel proud because this is the only time he's ever getting anyone mentioning his fucking name anywhere. So
we talk more about Stuart Townsend than I feel like Stuart Townsend's parents talk about Stuart.
And you are not wrong about that at all. We absolutely talk about Stuart Townsend. Probably more than I'd say more than he talks about himself, but that's a bold-faced fucking lie. He's definitely one of those dudes that just goes in a pub. You just see him. He's probably wearing like the gear from Queen of the Damned because he just won't let it go. So he's just at some bar just chilling. Hey, remember me? I was in that Queen of the Damned movie. And he's trying to pick up on like goth chicks and shit. But everyone's seen that movie. No one's impressed.
Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, he's dressed as Lestat. And then Tuesdays, Thursdays, and the weekend, he's dressed as Dorian Gray. Yeah. Maybe like one day out of the month, he wears the costume he was supposed to wear in Thor before he got fired.
That's right. He was supposed to be in Thor. Oh, my God. He was supposed to play Thor, right?
No. He was going to play one of the Warriors 3.
Oh, good. I'm so glad they didn't do that. I mean, not like we didn't fucking have any screen time with any of the Warriors. They switched those guys out.
Yeah, they did.
And like no one really noticed because they never put too much emphasis on those guys, and they were pretty cool. So,
yeah, I always liked. Oh God, who's the big one? Like the big redheaded dude.
Oh, I don't fucking know, but I know who you're talking about.
Hold on, Warriors 3, because he was.
You can drive my car too, babe. Yeah, if you want to, you got the keys.
All right, so the Warriors 3 are
just park over there. So,
yeah. Fandral, Hogan, and Volstagg. Fandral was one who Stuart Townsend was going to play, and then Volstagg, he's like the big red bearded dude. Yeah. He pops up now and again in the comic world, and he's always really fun. Like he's kind of like one of the most fun Asgardian characters. So. Yeah, it was sad they jobbed him out in friggin' Ragnarok, but yeah, they jobbed him all out.
I think we need to open up the podcast to talk more about horror movies. Because I'm like kind of going through the Nightbreed a little bit, and for some reason, Brain Scan popped into my head. I don't know if you ever watched the Brain Scan, but I love Brain Scan. Such a great Edward Furlong, and that's right. That's who's in it, right? Isn't it Eddie Furlong?
I don't know that one.
You haven't seen Brain Scan?
I've not seen Brain Scan. I have seen the Edward Furlong classic, The Crow 3 Wicked Prayer.
I didn't even watch that, so you're absolutely like one up on me. Here, let me send you the trailer for this, and if you haven't seen this, you should see it because it's fucking amazing.
Should we play it on the pod? Should we?
I mean, we should, yeah. So here we go. I'm going to send it to you, and I'll let you do the magic. But we could also, like, there are some people out there that just do, like, these stream watch parties and shit. So we could probably get away with playing some videos. I know a friend of mine's doing The Matrix tonight because The Matrix is the shit.
Nice. I don't know if you always have to be worried about like what you can and can't get away with on this.
If we get enough followers, we will stream Queen of the Damned with our commentary. That's what we should really be doing is like Mr. Saderic riffing. Just like all of Stuart Townsend's new movies. Like you guys play anything else? Like no, we just anything Stuart Townsend has been remotely in. The herpes commercial is in at one point. We load it up and we riff the fuck out of that 3.5 minutes.
All right, let's see what this does. I think I'm sharing audio. Let me know if it's not playing.
Okay, you are.
Okay, cool.
We got it on Blu-ray. I actually got Tommy a copy of this. But no, this movie's fucking great, man.
Please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Trickster.
So is mine.
Is the audio? Oh, I guess I gotta stop talking. Hold on. Let me mute myself.
Michael's seen it,
Go for it, man.
done it, played it,
Look, I've played them all.
and just when he thought he'd die of boredom,
Brain scan, the ultimate experience in interactive terror.
Never leave home without it.
See, and it goes with it because it's like an interactive horror game.
You must think like a killer. Cover up any clues. Leave no witnesses, no evidence.
a challenge he can't.
But this soundtrack is fucking phenomenal. Here, I'm gonna look up the soundtrack and send it to you.
Blow your mind.
A game he can't escape.
There was a grisly murder in the quiet suburban town of Mountview today.
So you did it.
What was on that disc?
It's not a game anymore.
Hamilton and Hayden.
It's real.
It wasn't supposed to be real.
Who was it supposed to be?
I didn't kill the man. I didn't even know him.
You're in this now. You won't survive on your own.
Have you seen this boy?
Yeah, this is amazing. Like
Yeah, I told it, dude. George, the music was composed by George S. Clinton. That's all you need to know, dude. Like, check this out. Here's the soundtrack. This soundtrack is fucking great. You have like in it. You have George Clinton in it.
He
apparently have
Smith,
White Zombie on it.
Yeah, White Zombies on it.
brain scan.
I can't wait to see what you do next.
You have Pitch Shifter, Olds on it.
Ooh,
Cat-
Franklin Jella, that's who that
Old
is.
Surfers. Yeah.
Yeah, that was like, I know who that is behind,
Yeah.
below all that makeup. It's like, oh yeah, it's Frank Delangella. That makes sense. Okay.
I fucking love that guy. That dude's a fucking boss. But anyway, oh shit. Oh, they have the CD. So basically, here, I'll send you the disc so you have to see the track listing. The track listing for this soundtrack is great. And the George S. Clinton score that he does is just, fuck, it's so good. It's so good. And of course, the White Zombie's like Thunder Kiss, because why wouldn't it be? But you got like Mudhoney and Butthole Surfers on it.
Yeah. I mean, look, if you're gonna have White Zombie, you have two options. You have More Human Than Human, or you have Thunder Kiss, or you have like the secret like Beavis and Butthead option of just have him make a completely new song for you. But
if we can get Rob
it's
Zombie to bring back White Zombie just to make a song for us, I think that would be it. I mean, I've only seen him once live, and it was a fun show. I mean, I took my brother. It was like his first concert because he was a big Rob Zombie fan. And we're up in the front there. And so he's getting down in the crowd and being all Rob Zombie. My brother reaches up and like tweaks his nipple, and Rob Zombie gives him this ooh look. It just kind of looks at him, ooh. And then like we met him after the show, and I was like, "You're the guy that tweaked my nipple." Fuck, it's just great. My brother's like, "What the fuck?" I mean, if he's right there, you might as well. That was.
Well, he's not doing that anymore. Did you see a recent show? He like threw like some lady came up and tried to grab him, and he like pushed her over or something.
What the fuck?
Like he's not into being touched anymore.
I guess not. I guess that might have like somebody might have like taken it overboard and just went balls deep on it.
Oh, okay. The guy who played the Trickster played the voice of Sander Cohen in BioShock. That makes sense.
Yeah, BioShock's the shit. We should go through BioShock.
I know they're BioShock.
They got the HD ones out now, so we can definitely go through those.
Yeah.
I didn't go through the second one though. The second one I played a bit. I should probably beat it because I played bits and pieces of it, and it was cool, but it just didn't have the feel of the first one because you're running around as a big daddy, but like you're so nerfed. So it's like I'm gonna be a big daddy. This is great, and then everything still kills you, and you're like, wow, this sucks. Either I was just terrible at the first game, getting roadhoused by the fucking big daddies and shit. Yeah. And now I am one, and I'm just getting fucking just killed left and right. It's fucking terrible. But the story is really good, though. I actually went through and read the story for it. I'm like, that's a cool story. And then BioShock Infinite was fucking fun. I liked that.
Yeah, and I understand that there's like because that's all into like alternate realities, and then one of them actually is the original BioShock, and that's how it all syncs up in like a DLC.
Yeah, it gets pretty fucking wild with those games. It's been a long time since I've gone through a BioShock, so I'd be down to go through a BioShock. I mean, if anyone has any suggestions of comics, games, and/or movies we should make fun of, talk about, and/or play, you should let us know in the comments.
Yeah,
Easy,
if we do, oh, go ahead.
No, it's easy. Just it could be anything, and we'll think about it. If it's good, we'll do it. If it's not good, we'll still do it, probably.
If we do a thing where like we start doing horror movies, we have to do, and this is not the game. This is specifically a movie, The Evil Within. Have you heard about it?
I played the game, but the movie. I'm gonna look it up.
The Evil Within is basically the Room of horror movies. It was created by like this like heir to some sort of like oil fortune, and he basically like this was his passion project. He threw like so much money into this, and then and
the one that came out in 2017, right?
Yeah,
it has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, but 5 out of 10 on IMDb.
Just because it is like a movie made by somebody who has never interacted with human beings. Like it's a movie made by somebody who's never watched a movie. It's incredibly for what it is. It's incredibly high budget.
Oh, but also, it has what's his face in it too.
Oh, from The Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah. I thought he passed recently, didn't he?
Yeah. So this movie was actually filmed in 2002. It took him 12 years. He didn't even finish. He eventually overdosed, I think, on like meth and cocaine, and then like somebody else had to finish his movie for him, like editing it.
Just his first paragraph. Wait, he died?
The director, editor, writer. Yeah, he died.
So he filmed it and didn't put it together, and then died before it was put together.
Yeah, it took him like 10 years.
Patrick Flannery's in this. What the fuck? I mean, to be fair, he hasn't really had a career since the Boondock Saints, but he was in that really cool fucking horror movie. What is that one called? Cigarette Burns, I think it is.
Cigarette Burns. Yeah.
Or is that?
No, wait,
no, that's Norman Reedus.
Norman Reedus. That out of the two of them, I would never have imagined that Norman Reedus would have been the one whose career took off because, like, Sean Patrick Flannery, like he was young Indiana Jones. He had like so many roles before that, and he just
he kind of just went. I mean, he's done a lot of films, but just nothing we've cared about.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm like going through his list since because Boondock Saints 2 was shit. Like that was a terrible. If you get through like the first like 45 minutes and really ignore the fucking the Rita from Dexter character, it's not that bad. It's really not that terrible. But I've only watched it twice, which the first time I turned it off like 30 minutes into it. I'm like, why am I watching 10 minutes of them lathering their asses? Like, what the hell? And then I see her character. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then, so it was terrible. But apparently they're making a third one because, what's his face needs was it Troy Duffy? Is that who it is? Needs fucking money, I guess.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of funny. Did you ever see Overnight, the documentary about him?
No, I probably should though. That sounds like something I would enjoy.
It's about a guy who's like, I mean, it's about him, and like, so he was signed to a Miramax contract. He was he had so many like supporters in Hollywood, and he basically like destroyed his own career by being a complete asshole.
That's like right.
Now he seems to be having like a career resurgence because all the people who decided to like, flush him out of the system because he was such an asshole, or all the people who kind of like have been expelled from Hollywood for why the last
why. So basically everyone in the Weinstein camp.
Harvey was one of his initial greatest supporters and basically the guy who kicked him out of Hollywood. And now that Harvey's gone, Troy's weaseling his way back in.
Oh. Well, as long as Troy didn't, sexually assault anybody, I guess that's.
No, he's different from regular run-of-the-mill like Boston scumbag. He's not like he's not like a bad dude.
No,
in that sense, he's just a bad dude.
And which is fun. I mean, I'll watch your fucking movies. Just don't, rape and assault people.
Yeah.
We did watch the Tarantino documentary the other night, though.
Oh, I never saw that.
It was good. I thought it was pretty decent because they kind of, they hint at the whole Harvey Weinstein, and near the end they kind of go into it more about, because that was like one of Tarantino's, like they were like basically best friends for the most part. Like everything he did was with that dude, and wow, that dude just looks like a total fucking sex offender.
Yeah.
Harvey Weinstein just like he's just so creepy and gross, but it was cool watching it because you got to see a lot more like behind the scenes of how he makes his movie, the loyalty of all of his cast members have had with him, and
Yeah.
it's really cool, especially when they got into like giving Zoe Bell like her starring role in like Death Proof, and that was fucking cool.
Yeah, he basically made her career like
Pretty much,
not made her career because she was always a successful stunt person, but he made her career as like a dedicated actor.
Yeah, and she's great. Like I love Zoe Bell. She should absolutely be in more movies. I don't know if you saw his latest one, but I thought that was amazing.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. No, I have not had a chance yet. I still need to.
When I first saw it, I was like, "Man, this is like the best Tarantino movie I've ever seen." And now that I've watched it again, I like it a lot. It's probably up there, like probably my top 5 Tarantino movies.
Nice.
Like seeing it in theaters the first time, I was just like blown away. I was like, "Wow, this is fucking amazing!" Like I don't think he said the N-word once. I was super super proud of him. He did, get a little shitty towards Mexicans.
Proud of your restraints, sir.
Yeah, I mean, because the time and the whole Hollywood theme, there's some derogatory stuff towards Mexicans, but I don't think he said the N-word. I'd have to watch it again, but I'm pretty sure. I mean, Sam Jackson wasn't in it, so it's safe to say he probably didn't have anyone say the N-word. But no, it was a great movie.
So last night we watched this film that I saw. I last saw it when I think I was 7 years old the last time I saw it. A movie called The Monster Club. Have you ever seen that?
I don't think so.
Vincent Price, John Carradine,
What?
Donald Pleasance, and then oh god, the Pretty Things, like the band The Pretty Things, and like UB40. They're on the soundtrack. So it's like an anthology movie based off of like the 1960s, 1970s Amicus movies. And let me show you the trailer here. I think I'm gonna be getting away with playing trailers, so I'm gonna try that.
Well, I think we can because I mean, there's a lot of people on Twitch that do like movies and stuff. They'll watch movies with people, so I think we can. I think we only got taken down because Trent Reznor got a hair up.
Trent Reznor and then Puddle of Mud demonetized one of our videos.
But dude, you can tell, like, what's his name, Wes Scatlin or whatever, just in there. What the fuck? People are talking about me.
I don't think enough people involved with the Monster Club are still alive to be able to pull this off. So I'm gonna play. Actually, hold on. Let me.
Vincent Price.
Yeah, let me add this back in here.
Pretty.
There you go.
Just
all right.
UB40.
I will take you to a place where my friends foregather. There you will find stories of such blood-curdling terror. It will make your toes curl and your hair reach up towards the sky.
Are we talking about horror or cocaine?
Take you.
Both.
Both. Just a coked Vincent Price. Yeah.
Special calling card. It was the best blood I have ever tasted.
He's giving you a very special invitation. 3 stories to shock you, chill you, thrill you, and make you laugh.
There's a face at my window.
Everybody knows about garlic and steaks through the heart.
I love Vincent Price.
Across there.
I'm just a sucker, boy, I'm just a sucker, boy,
I want to be a part of that meeting of when they decided who should do the music in this.
Yeah.
You know that one band, The Pretty Things, and UB40? Fuck yeah.
Songs by B.A. Robertson.
Don't you look down on me.
Night.
With the strange twisted.
The pretty things. The viewers.
Tell me I'm not going to let you go until you do.
We must have our food.
But remember, he likes to take you by surprise. You've been invited to the Monster Club. Come at your peril.
There you go. I'm gonna cover that song. Welcome to the Monster Club.
Yeah, so it's honestly like it's a lot of fun. It's a lot like now seeing it at 7 years old, I think messed me up for life. But seeing it as a 36-year-old, I just like I didn't realize it was so funny. I didn't realize that it was like so charming. It's a really like
It's a very
fun
British movie.
Yeah,
It's a very
is fun.
British movie.
Like all three stories are like very British, but then the surrounding scenes are done in America, and like Vincent Price and John Carradine. I don't know. Was John Carradine American or is he British?
John Carradine, I think, is American. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the surrounding
That was
scenes were
David
mostly.
Carradine's dad, wasn't it? I think so. Let me see. Yeah, it was David. Yeah, it was David Carradine.
Yeah.
Oh, David Carradine went the way of the Hutchins. We were at an NXS it was years ago. We were at like an NXS fucking like tribute band thing. I'm like, everyone do the Michael Hutchins. What? Some dude got the people's faces around us. We're just great. I'm like, I'm sorry, it's a new dance. You got to do the Hutchins.
You have to. It's the law.
You got to jerk off, and you just got to, just so Twitch knows when I'm doing this, I'm just raising my hand in support. I'm absolutely not indicating that I'm being hung whatsoever, shape, or form. So
For any
please, for anyone watching, this is a very friendly stream, and we're only referencing how excited we are.
yeah, this is Welcome to Friendship House. This is
We really focus on the friendship moves from Mortal Kombat, actually, which I just saw that the new update for Mortal Kombat 11. I don't know if you're ever a fan, but they added the friendships to it, and they're fucking hilarious.
I played the first two back in the Super Nintendo days. And I remember really liking I remember really liking Johnny Cage's one where he just like signs an autograph.
Basically, yeah, he just signs an autograph, and that's it.
Like I think Sub-Zero makes you an ice sculpture,
or the Babe-alities, which were great. Yeah, the Babe-alities were fun. We just turned into babies. But what I remember being a kid is Super Nintendo back in the day, like when Mortal Kombat. I remember when we bought Mortal Kombat, we got it on Sega.
Yeah,
because we had a Sega too. And I remember we got it. My parents were like, "Oh, we'll get it for you guys. Oh, you guys can't play it. It's too bloody." But we fucking played it. But there's a huge difference between the Sega version and the Nintendo version. At least for Mortal Kombat 1. Super Nintendo way back in the day, like when Mortal Kombat came out, like they cut all the blood out of it. I think they even cut the fatalities out of, for the most part, on the Super Nintendo. I think they cut out some of the.
They turned the blood green, if I remember right.
They changed stuff up, and it was not as brutal as the Sega version. I remember playing the Sega version, playing the fuck out of it. And the Super Nintendo one's super easy. I remember playing the Sega, and it took me a while to like beat Goro and Shang Tsung and stuff. And I remember going through the Super Nintendo at a friend's, and I just like powered through it. I beat that before I beat my Sega one, and it was wild. Those were great games. I remember playing them in the arcade, especially when Mortal Kombat 2 came out.
Okay.
That shit was, that was fun. Anyway.
Yeah, I think I read, let me see here. I think it was the, I'm sorry, I know Mortal Kombat had like a whole series of comic books at one time. And I think they were mostly based off of like the Mortal Kombat 3 storyline, if I'm saying that right.
Yeah, I'd have to look at that. They had some YouTube back in the day. Not back in the day, but probably like, not 10 years ago, maybe 5 years or so ago. And I could be wrong. They did the Mortal Kombat Legacy, which is on YouTube. So way back when there was supposed to be a new Mortal Kombat movie, and Michael J. White was in it, and as Jackson. Jesus fuck, that dude can act.
That the trailer thing they did?
Yeah, the trailer thing they did with the whole realism. It was very realistic. And that dude can fucking act in anything. I don't give a fuck what we're in. Like, he was great in Spawn for whatever shitty script that was. It was, you know, as a kid reading the comics, that was all right. But they did that real hyper realistic movie concept trailer, and it was phenomenal. Like, very bloody, very gory, very great, very Mortal Kombat. And they did it more. And then a few years after, they did Mortal Kombat Legacy, which is this YouTube series where they kind of followed that realistic kind of a thing. And I think he's still in it, but I remember watching parts of it. It was pretty all right. But I don't know. I think they're going to do a new Mortal Kombat movie at some point. I know they just did an animated one that I've been meaning to watch. So
yeah, I know. God, who was attached to it? I want to say like a guy who does mostly musicals was attached to it, which I always thought initially, like, I think like, well, what's going on with that? And then I'm like, oh wait, you're like constantly dealing with choreography. You'd actually probably be really good at this. Yeah, you're trying to like move a camera around choreographed movements from people. Like, okay, you can probably figure that out. So yeah, Nightbreed. We're down to talk about Nightbreed. Nightbreed.
Go ahead. Sorry, no, go ahead. I was going to say, which I think that I think we both kind of had kind of a busy week. I think we both have gotten through a good portion of it a little bit. You know, I'm big fucking fan of the movie though, or the movies, and you know, the book. You know,
yeah, I remember reading the book. I was 13 or 14 years old, I want to say, when I first read the book, and it was honestly really great. His
books seem to always be like really fucking good.
Yeah.
He's a good fucking horror writer.
Yeah, he's definitely gotten very hard into dark fantasy now, and I feel like that kind of washes back whenever he tries to dip back into horror writing. It always ends up feeling like you just wanted to write dark fantasy, but we've added a bit more blood. But yeah, I mean, his horror stuff, especially back in the day, was kind of second to none. It had this British urban kind of grimy, but still with like a tinge of like very properness to it, which made for just an atmosphere I have not seen from a lot of people. There was a line of books in the mid-90s called Del Abyss that I feel kind of touched on some of the same themes. Like that's where like Kathy Koja and Billy Martin, who at the time wrote under the name Poppy Z. Bright, that's where they sort of came from, the Del Abyss line. But that was a very American version of what Clive Barker is doing. You all right over there?
No, I'm actually I'm scrolling through the comic real quick and just looking at. They did such a great casting option on the casting choices on here, like versus the comic to like who they got to play the characters, or just they did a great fucking job. Like it looks exactly like the characters and stuff for the most part.
Yeah, for the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for the movie, and I need to get that Cabal cut. I mean, there's been bunch of controversies with the movie. Just basically, Clive Barker, as he always seems to kind of run into these kind of issues, like he did with Hellraiser a little bit, but especially with Nightbreed, where he wasn't able to just fully express his whole vision of Nightbreed. He kept getting like, cut, you got to cut this, you got to cut that, you got to cut that, because studios were a bunch of cocks.
Yeah, you got to make the monsters look scarier. You got to, you got to make it so like the cops don't look as bad. It's just, fuck.
It was just fucking stupid. He went through so much shit to just make the movie. And the movie itself, like for anybody, whether you're like a fan of like horror or not, or even just that, or even if you've never even heard of Clive Barker, Nightbreed is still a really good movie on its own. Yep. But like it's a lot better when you watch because he's been releasing different cuts throughout the years. Like we got the Cabal cut finally, which he's been talking about for so long, which is based off the book of Nightbreed, which is the Cult of Cabal or something.
Mm-hmm.
And and it adds so much more because Nightbreed has such a big fucking vibrant kind of like a universe in it. Like the characters, the creatures, everything are just, it's awesome. It's almost kind of like Hellraiser has this big fucking universe that, you know, the comics kind of touch on a little bit more and the movies kind of do. But Nightbreed I've always liked a little more than Hellraiser. This Nightbreed just, there was always so much more, especially after reading the books and then starting to see the new cuts that were coming out. You get so much more out of the fucking story, and it's great. I really want him to finally just. I think they're releasing like a 3.5 hour cut last time I saw of the movie, and I'm waiting for that because I will watch the fuck out of that. Like I love it. I love Nightbreed so fucking much.
So let's talk about a little bit about the world that this was released into. So this comic came out, the first issue of Nightbreed #1 from Epic Comics, which was a sub brand of Marvel Comics. They've now been folded back into the main Marvel Comics line.
Mm-hmm.
But this came out at the beginning of May 1990. Now, what was #1 on the U.S. charts in May 1990?
What was #1 on the U.S. charts of May?
Yeah, just throw a guess out. May 1990.
Yes. All right. May 1990. Top of the music charts of the 90s would have been.
I'm doing this.
I need a little bit of a hint. Are we looking at? It's probably something grunge related.
No, so 1990. This is like 4 years before grunge started. I'll just do it right now. Nothing Compares to You by Sinead O'Connor.
Oh, okay.
Which, like, mentally, I always associate as being an 80s song, but then I realized it's like, oh, yeah, like the 90s didn't really start until like 1993. But Clive Barker is British. So what do you think was at the top of the British charts in early May 1990?
Sinead O'Connor's Nothing Compares to You.
Vogue by Madonna.
Because of course it was.
Yeah, and then 2 months later, World in Motion, We're Singing for England by New Order would hit the top of the charts.
There we go.
That feels a little bit more 90s than Vogue does to me, but oh well. And then top of the movie charts, I didn't look this up for the UK, but I have it for the US, is Pretty Woman.
Yes. Dude, I love Roy Orbison. I don't give a fuck. I love Roy. My Courtney got me for it was a Christmas present. I think it was a Valentine's present. She got me like on vinyl, like Roy Orbison's like greatest hits. Because, you know, In Dreams is so great. Can't think of it without Blue Velvet, you know.
Yeah. Did you ever see the Black and White Nights concert video?
I don't think so.
So it's Roy Orbison with all of his like regular band, and then also Elvis Costello, Tom Waits, Bruce Springsteen, Katie Lang, Reba McEntire, a whole ton of other people. And like he's doing like all of his classic songs and then like other songs that people have written for him. Like there's like an Elvis Costello song that he sings that was like, it's like clearly Elvis Costello just like sat down one weekend and it's like, I'm going to write the perfect Roy Orbison song. And that became The Comedians, which is just a beautiful, beautiful song.
Nice. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. It's I think it's up on YouTube. It's, you know, but I think we can, definitely check it out. It's just it's really good. It has like, at one point it has just a jam session in the middle of this concert with like Elvis Costello, Bruce Springsteen, Tom Waits playing fucking organs. Like it's amazing.
I need to watch that. Well,
it's really good.
Put a link to that on Facebook or something. I'm gonna
we'll do.
Out of that. Roy Orbison, man, like that. I still love that scene. Blue Velvet, fucking. I want the candy colored clown. And you get that actor to recreate that video and be like, I need you to do this for our intro video now. I don't know if you're still alive. I got to look it up as he was. He was pretty old when he did that, but like, I don't care how old you are, but if you can just recreate that entire scene, while you just lip sync, in dreams, I'll give you like $50 and, you on this. Oh my God. It's such a great fucking movie.
Yeah, that's
probably like
honestly
the most accessible movie.
aside from the Straight Story. Like, have you ever seen the Straight Story?
No, I don't think so.
Literally a Disney movie made by David Lynch, but he is it's based off of a true story, like of a guy who he has not talked to his brother in 20 years or something. He's like 80 something. He finds out that his brother had a stroke. He decides to go visit him. He refuses to let anybody drive him. He refuses to take public transportation. However, his eyesight has gotten so bad that he can't get his driver's license recertified. So he just drives a riding mower across like 7 states.
Fucking what?
So this actually happened. This is like a fictionalized version of it. But it's basically about this one man driving a riding mower across America to visit his like ailing brother.
Nice.
But it has none of the traditional David Lynch weirdness, but all of the traditional like really, really good David Lynch cinematography and really good camera shots. So it's like he's like using all of his techniques and all of his tricks for what is like, I'm sure he would probably like look back at it and be like, yeah, I was kind of like shaking hands with the devil there when I worked with Disney, but it's a really good movie, and it's really interesting to see him go so far outside of like the because he has that whole catching the big fish, transcendental meditation, like I'm going to follow this weird idea all the way down the rabbit hole. And this is like him using all his techniques, but also, really playing it safe. And it's really interesting to see like what gets through and what doesn't get through.
Nice. We got to get, I doubt we'll ever be able to. We should get David Lynch on here. I had a friend of mine that was like, you should get like Kevin Smith on your podcast. I'm like, yeah, I'll just call up Kevin Smith right now. What are you doing, you fat piece of shit? Sorry, I forgot. Do you want to be on a podcast?
Yeah,
all right, I'll go fuck.
I pinged a band I really like. They're like a black metal band. I won't say their name because maybe I'll be able to get them at some point. But I was like, hey, I know you are all really into Silent Hill and the Silent Hill comics. Would you like to be on my podcast? And they're like, well, we've never read any of the Silent Hill comics. And I was like, well, you could.
You could, and you don't really have to. You can just get on here and do what we do and pretend that we've read the comics and just, talk.
All right, I want to get into this. I read far too many of these fucking comics.
Because the Silent Hill ones, I never read the Silent Hill ones, so we should probably tackle that at some point. Because the games.
I hate most of the Silent Hill comics aside from this one called Past Life, which is based in Silent Hill during like this, I want to say like the 1800s. So it's like cowboy era Silent Hill.
Oh, good.
So it's got an interesting thing of like when Alessa's curse came, it didn't just come for all things going forward. It also goes backwards in time, and it's interesting. It has like an interesting idea about it. And it's like, it's got some like Silent Hill downpour characters tangentially involved in it too.
Nice.
But yeah, Nightbreed, I read too many of these because we went from Alan Grant and John Wagner, who I will come right. So they wrote the adaptations of the book and movie that constitute the first 4 chapters of this.
Mm-hmm.
They are best known. Like Alan Grant has had like a long career. He's worked. He's worked for 2000 AD. He worked for DC. But Alan Grant and John Wagner, basically, I don't know if they created the character, but they definitely defined Judge Dredd.
Yeah.
So like that's their pedigree. D.G. Chichester, I have never heard of before, and I hope I never hear the name again because I think I hate D.G. Chichester.
What a fucking name.
Yeah, like I'm reading it's like the G.K. Chesterton write comics. Like, what the fuck is going on here? And like some of the artists he works with, like Brett Blevins, I think is really good. Like I don't think I've ever seen his stuff before, but he has this like crazy kind of like messy Bernie Wrightson inspired, like very shadowy art. Like I like him.
Yeah.
Jackson Geiss, also known as Butch Geiss, he's still working today. He's an amazing artist. He did Chapter 6, but like DG Chichester, I don't get why he was given this assignment, and he wrote all of it aside from the first 4 issues.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Did you like any of what he did, or?
And the first 4 issues?
After the first 4 issues.
After the first 4 issues? I'm almost out of the first 4 issues.
Okay.
I was super busy this week. Like I'm building like this desk workstation thing for everything. And so it's just been everything going on. But I've been reading, and basically the first 4 issues are basically the movie.
Yeah.
I've seen a bunch, and I've been scrolling through it as we've been talking, just kind of going through, catching up what I wasn't already caught up on yet. And still, man, all their casting was fucking great. I love they had Doug Bradley in it too, dude.
Yeah, it's Lylesburg, I think is the character's name.
Let's see. Ooh, that's his name. Oh, fucking
yeah, Lylesburg. I know for the Cabal cut, he actually redubbed all of his voice for it, because in the original movie he was doing like a weird German accent. And he's like, he said in interviews, like his one regret from that movie is that the terrible accent I tried to do. And so he's now redubbed all of his voice from so like for the Cabal cut and for the new cut, I'm sure they're using it again. But
it reminds me of Bowie and the Twin Peaks: The Return, was the fact that he did that Louisiana accent, and then like. He got upset because like I don't think I did that accent justice, and then he got somebody else to overdub his voice for the return because you just didn't think he was like it was good enough for it. I'm like, dude, you're fucking David Bowie. You can talk in like the shittiest accent possible, and we're still gonna watch it. And then
I don't want to talk about Judy. I don't want to talk about Judy at all. Who do you think this is over here? So. When he gave them permission to use his image in the new show, I guess his like only requirement was that his voice was done by a voice artist who is actually Southern. So like in the in Twin Peaks: The Return, even when you see David Lynch on the screen, it's not David Lynch's. Sorry, not Dave. Even when you see David Bowie on the screen, it's not David Bowie's voice.
Yeah, that was such a trip because we they got Courtney into watching Twin Peaks, and so we went through like the beginning all the way into the special, and what a wild ride that is, that special. Let's give it up for that 11-minute fucking weird ass apocalyptic scene. And was it episode 8? I think.
Yep, episode 8.
I'm like, what the fuck is going? Fucking 10 minutes of just like. And I wouldn't say it's nonsense because it isn't, but to anyone else that somebody else probably, I'm sure other people probably turn like, okay, we get it, you're David Lynch, but they're like lesser known people, lesser people that may not have like been as big of a fan probably like checked out after that one. But I mean, we stayed for Dougie, so
yeah,
those are great. It's such a wild.
God. Yeah, so Nightbreed, the first 4 chapters are written by Alan Grant and John Wagner, kind of legendary for their work on 2000 AD, especially Judge Dredd. It's drawn by Jim Bikey, who is a Scottish comic book artist. He's done a lot of stuff for, UK comics, like a lot of them, but he's also done a lot of Batman and the Spectre work. So like really, really like solid, solid kind of solid 80s and early 90s art. I feel like the coloring is definitely kind of like the first attempts at, I don't know if they're doing like specifically computer coloring at this point, but it's like the first attempts at trying to like do more rendered coloring rather than what they were doing in the 70s and 80s, which was a lot more sort of just flat coloring. Like you're kind of just like assisting the artwork rather than redefining the artwork. And definitely, like, if this isn't computer coloring, this is definitely like this on the journey to getting to computer coloring. But yeah, this is I think the first 4 issues are absolutely fantastic, and then when it gets into the original stories, I hate it. Like, I really hate it. And I think it's mostly I hate the writing.
I'm almost out of the. I'm just going through it now. I think I'm about out of. Yeah, there it goes. Yeah, because the next one is Nightfall. Is that like it's all original, right? No, not Nightfall. We're almost out of it. We're at the Midian Fallen with Baphomet and everything.
Midian Fall is the last one, and then after chapter 5 is when it starts getting to original stuff, like what happens to the Nightbreed after they leave Midian, which is an interesting storyline. But I just
release the Berserkers.
And then apparently chapter 12 is Cenobites versus Nightbreed, which unfortunately has the same writer, so I'm not really looking forward to getting to it, but I will.
Oh my god. Oh, Decker looks so good in this.
Yeah, honestly, like Decker's just
fucking
is a fantastic. It's just I don't know if it's as much the character that I love as the design of the character. Like that mask is freaking terrifying.
That mask is it's fucking great. Like I'm just what a fucking villain. And I mean, like, Cronenberg did a great job, of course, but like it's just the whole design, all of it.
And like these covers, they look like incredibly, like they look like something from the 80s or the 90s that you're not supposed to read. Like your mom's not going to approve of you reading these things. And they just, oh god, just like the
okay. I did the artwork and shit change drastically once we hit after because it's not the same.
No, so this
this artwork is just. I don't see a cover for it. Let me see here. Let me go back. Okay, there's the cover. Epic, an anthology. Nightbreed, Stalkers, Wildcard, Sleaze Brothers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like this sort of thing. This is very like Vertigo of the time, like that kind of art.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that. I never really cared for that. But then you get into like this kind of stuff. I like this a bit more, which is just very
even with as I'm going through this, even like I'm not a big fan of like the over exaggeration of artwork in this. I don't know how I feel about it. Like as we get into this little scene here, as we get into the first issue, it's just kind of not the first, but the first issue after we get finally past the movie.
Yeah.
So the art just seems, it's just so over exaggeration of the characters. It kind of feels like, and I mean, there's parts and pieces of it. I'm like, okay, that looks cool. And then they like a few pages later, you're like, all right, well, that's enough of that. And I don't know, like I can kind of see like how, and I'm skimming through the story a little bit. We're on Nightbreed 5 is what you're talking about, right?
Yeah. So like that's kind of like, for its time, that's very like Vertigo 80s. Like they didn't all look like that, but there was that sort of style was, I think, kind of popular in that environment. And then you have it does get very like Sandman Mystery Theater as time goes on. Very like it's heavy shadows. I think there's a lot of people who are like they have a lot of like. So hold on. A lot of like I'm showing this to the camera, like very Bernie Wrightson inspired. Like that's like or like that's I feel like that's the old witch from friggin' The Haunt of Fear. But like these kind of faces are
Yeah.
yeah, so like that's very very inspired by so I don't know if you're familiar with Bernie Wrightson, but he got his start I think at the tail end of like the EC Comics thing, but he really like he did a lot of like House of Mystery and like DC Comics' sort of ripoffs of EC Comics style stuff, and that's where like he co-created. I think he co-created Swamp Thing, and but that he has a pretty famous. Adaptation of Frankenstein where he did all the artwork for it. So it's just like I think it's like Mary Shelley's words and his art.
Oh, that could be.
He does these very sort of heavy shadow, heavy cross-hatching, but beautifully rendered images of things that are horrible. And I absolutely love his work, but you can smell a person who has been overly inspired by him like a mile away. And there's a ton of them. Some of them are amazing. Like there's a dude called Tim Vigil who does a comic book called Faust, who's inspired by that guy. But he does his own.
I think I've seen
Sorry?
that. I think I've seen that.
Faust?
Faust. Yeah. That comic.
Yeah, I have I'll have to unpack my long box at some point on this. Probably not this episode, but maybe some other time. But I have a whole bunch of Faust stuff. I have a whole bunch of another one that he did called Gothic Knights, which is about like vampires and werewolves and shit. And it's very like
nice.
It's Hammer horror plus like extreme sex and violence.
Nice. That's
but he's great. There's another guy I just got clued into called John Bolton who also does stuff like that. But it's sort of like you have to be really good at doing what he does if you're going to like ape him that much. And aside from those two guys I mentioned, a lot of people who like ape what Bernie Wrightson did aren't amazing. But yeah, I mean, I feel like the people who worked on Nightbreed art-wise, aside from that one, that chapter 5 that I actually really didn't like, most of the art in this I really, really enjoyed. It's just the writing.
Yeah, I need to tear into chapter 5 and go on and start reading a lot of it. But as I'm going through like kind of right now, just like skimming through stuff, checking things out, and definitely a lot of things drastically changed. And
yeah,
they switch artists halfway through some of these too.
Sorry?
They change the artist up and
they change the artist up like almost every issue.
Yeah, I was gonna say like 5 and 6. Like 6 looks so different from like what the 5th.
Yeah, 6 they that jumps to Jackson Geese, I want to say. Jackson Geese, I want to say he has a fantastic chapter 6. Yeah, Jackson Geese and Alfred Ramirez. I think Alfred Ramirez is inking. And then after that, Brett Blevins is the penciler and inker. And then after that, Brett Blevins with a bunch of other people. And then, he swaps out with a guy named Mike Manley quite a bit. And then at the end, it's Paul Johnson. So they really jump around with the art here. And that's what they were doing in the late 80s, early 90s. And unfortunately, that kind of ends up being... I think that's a thing that kills a lot of comic book runs before their time is that, inconsistent art. Like if your artist can't make this issue, don't just hire anybody. Hire somebody who kind of looks like them from an artistic standpoint. Like it's so weird when like early 90s Spider-Man had the same thing where you would have
like, guy in issue 6 that just like that big old mouth and he's shoving like knives and shit into it. This old guy. It's so fucking ridiculous.
Like early 90s Spider-Man had a similar thing where like they would just like randomly throw in this fill-in issue with a completely different artist right in the middle of a storyline. And I think there was it was during like the Clone Saga or something. There was like a whole bunch of like weird goop monsters that were in the previous issue. And then the next issue, the art changed. It's suddenly gone from cartoony to like photorealistic. And this guy's drawing dragons instead of goop monsters. But yeah, inconsistent art. Not my favorite thing in comics. I think
it breaks that immersion so much when you're like super into this story. You're like, fuck, man, the artwork resonates with me. The writing is great. Everything about it, like the whole aesthetic of the comic and shit. And then you're like, I can't wait for this next issue. I left on a cliffhanger. This will be great. You wait that month or whatever it is. You get that issue. You open it up. Completely dog shit artist and just ruins it for you. You're just like,
yeah. And yeah, I mean they're even bouncing between like different letters, different color, like even like different colorists and people like that. It's
much like Clive Barker's own career. Like his comics just are always plagued with something.
Yeah.
Like a big something, whether or not it's unable to retain like artists, writers or whatever. There's always something with it. And I guess that's the charm of Nightbreed. I guess not really the charm, more of like the curse and charm of Nightbreed or Clive Barker, I guess, because there's every one of his movies seems to have some extravagant story of how it got made or something. And it's just
get this artist to come back or this actor to come back. I couldn't get
yeah. He just can't quite catch a break, but he can make lemonade out of it.
Yeah.
As long as the studio's not fucking him or something. So
yeah. Like that, like in Hellraiser 2, if I remember correctly, it ended up being so remember when she goes into hell to find her father and she ends up like she realizes that it's Frank right at the end. It's not actually her dad. And he ended up doing that. I want to say he ended up doing that because he couldn't get the actor who played Harry to come back.
Probably because that entire movie and production was just cursed to begin with. Like if no one on here has ever like dove into Hellraiser or any of Clive Barker work, read the whole just look up the whole coming together of making Hellraiser because that's a wild fucking ride. On top of the fact that him and his writer they were shooting was it in the UK or some shit? I gotta look it up.
They made them like redub all the voices to make it more
it was ridiculous. Like the fact that he didn't think this was going to be a movie that was going to make it. I guess I gotta look at it. Give me a second here while I make sure I'm not just like telling a bunch of dumb shit.
Well, a friend of mine was like asking me because
this is his first ad. That's what it was. It was like he had shitty like cinematic adaptations of his film, so he decided to direct it himself and realized I fucking hate directing.
Yeah. What was the one before that? Rawhead Rex was the one before.
Yeah. At this point, none of his movies like that's the thing with Clive Barker. Like his writings and stuff are always going to be a million times better than like any of his movies for the most part. And his movies are good, but like they're not his full vision. And it just sucks to see a writer like that can't just have a movie that's just his full fucking vision without something fucking up. And I guess that's how it is with any writer or director, I guess. But Clive Barker seems to get the short end of the stick a lot.
Yeah.
But the cast was like it was wild. Like I said, he did. He just said, "I'm going to direct this movie," even though I'm a writer. I've never directed a movie, so this whole Hellraiser is basically like him fumbling around being a director for the first time, and the overdubbing to remove the British accents.
Yeah, I have a friend. So a friend of mine is a friend of mine is from the UK as well, and was talking to me because he knew I was a big fan of Hellraiser.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Wow, like what's going on with this movie? Like they appear to be like somewhere on the East Coast, but then like the American dad is talking to the British wife about like you're back in your home turf. Like, what's going on there? Like, oh, they just re-recorded all the
No.
dialogue.
They had to record the dialogue and shit. It was just, and he wanted and Barker's the shit. He wanted Coyle to do the music for the film, but it was rejected by.
Yeah. Have you ever heard those songs? They released them eventually.
I think they did. I don't think I have. No, I need to.
I really like them, and I don't know. People have said like, I understand why they didn't because they sound dated, but also like
it's fucking Coyle.
it's Coyle, and B, like
the fact that
retro
Clive Barker was like, I want Coyle to do this. Like,
retro synth comes back every 5 years, so like this.
Every time Roland's like, we're going to release the Juno 106 or the Yamaha's DX7. Here we go, guys.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they haven't. Speaking of synth, so I'm going to go on a wild tangent for like 2 seconds. Behringer has been releasing some very faithful clones of synths. Like they just announced their monopoly. And
nice.
And it sounds fucking good. And I'm going to get it. It's going to be like $600. Compared to like the $2-3 for the original Korg monopoly, they released a Pro One clone that sounds really good. So if you're into like old Skinny Puppy and Depeche Mode, or pretty much Vincent Clark with the Pro One and the monopoly, that's Erasure 101 right there. So I mean, as I'm like building my workstation eventually, I'm gonna be buying some modular synths and shit, and just building some synth racks and stuff. And then I'm gonna like, Greg, it's time. Erasure cover band. It's time. Get your Andy Bell on. We're doing it. And no, but that's the thing is like the whole bullshit about being dated. It's fucking Coyle. I mean, come on, guys. It's Coyle. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, they can be like, what kind of music do you want us to do for yourself? I don't give a fuck. You're Coyle. Just do something before this guy dies. It's
Christ, most of that band's dead now. I think Paul Thysett is still around, but Peter Christopherson died a few years ago. John Balance died in the mid-90s or mid-2000s. That sucks, man. It
sucks. It's like Genesis Forge died. So
R.I.P. Genesis.
Robin Renisel, like fucking all of the good industrial bands are just like slowly dying off, and it sucks.
Yeah.
Blitz ever dies. Sad day. I'm still, I get why he left the Bad Seeds, because I probably would have left the Bad Seeds around the time he left the Bad Seeds. Because it's kind of interesting how long Blixa held on, and the novelty, because Blixa was, from reading like a lot of the Nick Cave stuff, and like Blixa just always came across at the beginning almost kind of like a novelty for them, because he couldn't really play guitar. He could scream this weird inward screaming like a cat, and it was great. And that's all they needed, and it worked. And I just didn't seem like around like what he left around the time of Nocturama.
Yeah, it's like right after Nocturama, I want to say.
And I mean, I get it, but it sucks. I mean, and then Mick left, and then that's like, yeah, it just sucks. But man, if he died, if any of them died, I'd be upset.
Yeah. And there's been a few Seeds have died recently, right?
Who?
A few of the Seeds have died, like the original ones.
What's his name?
He played organ.
Keyboardist, yeah, Conrad. Was it something Connolly? I feel so bad. I'm gonna butcher his name. I gotta look him up now. I feel so bad. I don't want to like butcher his name.
Conway Savage.
Conway Savage. That's right. It was like it started with a C. I'm sorry. I'm a few tequilas deep. There was a C in there. But yeah, no, he died, and that kind of sucks. That dude was there almost since the beginning. Like, it's a hell of an organ player. Have you do you follow Mick Harvey on Instagram?
Oh no, should I?
Yeah, all he does is post pictures of his cats. It's fucking phenomenal. Mick Harvey is obsessed with his fucking cats, and 99.9% of his posts are his fucking cats. and occasionally like something about him doing a show or something. But like, literally, like it's all of his cats, and I'm pretty sure. Hold on, I'm pretty sure his Instagram name I think has cat in it somewhere. And I think it's just Mick Harvey, but I follow him, and it's like the best thing in the world. Because Mick Harvey's just a treasure. It's like Mick Harvey 9. Like that's the thing is like someone stole his name. Someone stole his name, and so he did Mick_Harvey 9, and that's him. And it's literally photos. Most of his photos are his fucking cats. And then he had someone rolling like, see, like here's one of his cats. And he does. He would just post nonstop. He like shit post just his cats, and then you scroll down, and then he posted about how they did the whole trip back in February. They played a lot of Roland songs and stuff, which is pretty cool. I wish I would have could be able to catch any of that.
Have you been watching Robert Fripp and his wife Toya's? I mean, Toya's Toya, but have you been watching any of their? I guess like quarantine related breakdowns.
No, but it sounds
every
like
Sunday they post like some weird video of themselves doing crazy shit. Hold on a second. I'm gonna show you one of these videos. It's incredible. It's absolutely amazing. So this is Robert Fripp from King Crimson, and his wife Toya, who is I guess not a huge thing in America, but in the UK is like a kind of a legend of pop music. Hold on a second.
I recognize the name, but alcohol. Oh, okay. But I remember I auditioned a bassist a while back when I was doing an earlier version of Glamour. And she was part of like the guitar circles, and that's all she talked about was like Robert Fripp and like King Crimson and these guitar circles. And I'm just like, that sounds kind of fun, I guess. I mean,
hold on. I'm gonna show you one more of these.
What the fuck is this?
It's amazing, is what it is.
It looks like Robert got a hold of some Molly. They need like a big like Monty Python like animated head chasing them. And then I'd be like, that is the most British thing I've ever seen. Look at them flexing on us with their manner. Like, what the fuck, Robert Fripp? We're going crazy quarantining in our 100,000 acre fucking manor. We're actually going to areas of the manor they've never been to up until this point. It's the guitarist from King Crimson and his wife.
Yeah. So, so like the deal with the Guitar Circle is, so they make you basically play. So they make you play in a concept called New Standard Tuning, which is in.
New Standard? Isn't that the one that's in? I played in that once, and it was
like mostly fifths, but then there's a couple of strings fifths. But it's effectively like it's supposed to break you of your old guitar habits because you can't play regular chords anymore.
Yeah, it's all open notes basically. Yeah, all fifths tuning. I remember tuning a guitar to that way back in the day and being like, I guess. Of course, Robert Fripp's the first thing that pops up in the wiki about it because that's, he was invented by him, so might as well.
Yeah, I don't know if, there are only 6 in a guitar. Really, it can be invented by somebody, but it's definitely popularized by him. But his whole deal has been that to the point where, like, now that he's touring with Crimson again, and they're playing a lot of their like classic material. He had to hire a new singer who also played guitar because he can't play a lot of his old riffs. So the riffs that he played back in like the 70s through, I want to say like the early 80s, he can't play anymore because they're all in traditional tuning. Whereas, like, yeah, he has to get a different,
So
different.
Robert Fripp, learn how to fucking play it in your magic fucking new tuning. We invented this tuning to create the guitars to write with more mindfulness of their playing, and I'm like, that's cool. Translate your old fucking King Crimson tabs to this thing. See how mindful you are of that. Like, that's what a wild ass contributed sounds to the Windows Vista operating system. I would remove that immediately from my Wikipedia because Windows Vista next to Windows ME were like the worst OSs of like all time. And you should not be proud to have contributed to that. You should really distance yourself.
The oh god, what am I thinking of here? Oh, so he did that. So I saw King Crimson on their last tour when they came to Seattle. They had 3 drummers.
Of course they fucking did, because it's progressive rock.
Yeah, it was basically like one traditional like rock style drummer who I think was Gavin Harrison, who was also in Porcupine Tree.
I love
and
Gavin Harrison. Oh my god.
And then 2 other guys who were just kind of doing like fills and like less traditional like percussion stuff.
Why? Gavin Harrison could have done it all. Like, that's so dumb. Like, have you seen Gavin Harrison drum? It's a fucking treat.
Yeah.
Like, I picked up Fear of a Blank Planet on vinyl a while back. I love Porcupine Tree. And that's like one of their good ones. I mean, I need to get Deadwing and a couple of the others, but like Gavin Harrison, like that entire band is solid to begin with. Like everything about that band, everyone in that band. It's Steven Wilson himself, like the monumental talent that man has is just music's gonna lose a huge behind the scenes kind of a guy when he dies, because his production is amazing, his guitar work is amazing, his songwriting's great. But Gavin Harrison is, I remember back in the day when I was super into Porcupine Tree and playing stuff kind of similar to that. I'm like, man, I need to find a drummer like Gavin Harrison. You need to be more like Gavin Harrison. You can only be one Gavin Harrison though. Fuck, man. What a sweet fucking drummer, dude. Big fan of that guy.
Yeah, he's also in another band that were supposed to come to town and then got canceled because of unspecified events.
The events.
Pineapple Thief. And,
oh yeah, the Pineapple Thief.
Yeah,
he's in that.
Yeah, I'm excited for shows again. I want shows back. Shows, please.
There's a lot of like solid, because we had tickets to Cruel World.
We had tickets to Dead Can Dance.
Fuck, I wanted to go see them. But we had tickets to Cruel World. Did you see the lineup for fucking Cruel World?
It's really good, yeah.
Besides Morrissey, which, I mean, I was joking with my friends, like we were all joking that it would be like the biggest mass exodus for a headliner ever. Like Bauhaus is gonna end, the lights gonna come up for like Morrissey's gonna come on stage, and nobody's gonna be out there. Or all of us are gonna be out there eating a burger with a meat taste fucking good, you old racist bastard.
Yeah, I think people were trying to do the whole like internet like don't buy tickets to the show thing. Actually, not because of Morrissey, but because of the guy who was running.
Yeah,
because he's the Coachella guy, right?
Yeah. We didn't know that until we bought the tickets. And a friend of mine brought it up. She's like, "Oh, is that the guy that does?" I'm like, "Wait, what?" And I had to look it up. I'm like, "Cool," because that same production company is the same company that did the Pasadena Daydream. We went last year to go see The Cure, and that was a shit show. That entire festival, and I haven't been in a festival in a while, but going to like California, especially Pasadena, fucking area in August, is still like 100+ fucking degrees out. And you're gonna do a goth festival out there of everyone in black. I'm telling you right now, Robert Smith, who thought that was good, he's probably coming out going like, "Fuck." Like he's probably melting. And luckily he went on it like late at night when it cooled down. But it was a great festival. But that entire company that put it on was a nightmare. People that paid for VIP got fucked out of VIP because VIP was shit. Like their VIP section was so bad. The VIP lines were so terrible that I think we got in before most VIP did. Like they were bad. And the whole getting in was a big deal. But like the show itself, I mean, granted, the layout, I don't know if you've ever been to the Rose Bowl area. But I'm gonna give you some pointers on if you ever go a concert at the Rose Bowl. Fucking don't go to any concert at the Rose Bowl because it's fucking terrible. And these are the two big reasons why it's terrible. Reason one, and it probably would help if I had a visual, if I pulled up a map. So basically, they have two stages. They have like they have stages like fucking way the fuck at the end over here. Like it's like a fucking like a good 10-minute walk or so to get from one end to the other. Probably more than that. So they have one fucking area over here where they play like some of the bigger bands, and they have way up by the entrances they have these other bands. So if you want to see bands, like most festivals, typically will have stages within a reasonable walking distance. Typically, a lot of festivals I've been to, I'm gonna look over here and look at this other stage now, and I can see a band. I go walk like 50 feet and I'm there. They did not do that. So everything is so spread apart. So we got to miss like throwing muses and shit. And I missed was it Lebanon, Hanover. Chelsea Wolf didn't play. Did she?
Yeah, she said.
Oh shit, we missed. I already seen her, but I guess we missed it. We missed a lot of good stuff because you're not going to want to walk across a giant fucking field in 100+ degree weather, dressed in all black. And I think I wore like I had a vest on, and even with like a cut-off t-shirt and shorts and a vest, I was dying. Courtney was dying. Second reason never to go there is that there is, much like the Thunderdome, there is only one way in and one way out. And when thousands and thousands of people are exiting this area to get their cars, to get their Ubers, there is only one way in and one way out. And what do you think fucking happens when it's set up like that? Like all the fucking, for us to get an Uber out of there was the most nightmare I've ever been. Like it was terrible. Like not only are we exhausted, drinking all day, walking everywhere, and we're just fucking done. We just want to go back to our hotel. We're just done. We even left the Cure just a little bit early. We left like a song or so before they ended. I think we're like, all right, we're like at the front. We were like right at the front of the Cure. I'm like, I now have to go through thousands and thousands of people just get there, and that was fun. We get there, we call our Uber, and we got 6 or 7 Ubers cancel on us because they couldn't get to us. We had to beg this Uber driver we got on the phone, like, listen, my dude, I will tip the unholy fuck out of you. Do not leave us here. Come get us. And he was cool. He actually came and found us. But that place was a total shit show. There were people running around offering, like, we'll give you a ride, like $300. Like, completely. It was such a fucking shit show. I will never go to another show at the Rose Bowl. I don't give a fuck who it is. It could literally be fucking like Trent Reznor back on heroin doing 9 Inch Nails, and this is the only show they're gonna do. It could be like Tom Waits, David Bowie could magically be back with like Prince. It could be like the most dream lineup ever, and I probably still wouldn't go because it would fucking suck.
Yep. That's a similar experience that I had also seeing The Cure, but in Vancouver, Washington.
I almost went to what was this? Was it like a few years? What was it, like 2015, 16?
16 or 17, yeah.
It was something on that. I remember I was going to go get tickets to go to that show, and tickets were, of course, wildly expensive. I was about to, and then I heard it was kind of a shit show.
It was a shit show getting out of it. The show itself was great. The Twilight Sad opened. They're one of my favorite bands. Cure.
They played the show we were at. The Twilight Sad did play. Oh, I fucking love those guys.
Yeah, their new album is fantastic. But yeah, trying to get out of there was a fucking nightmare. We also was trying to get either an Uber or a Lyft. And first of all, there is no cell service at that stadium. Not at all.
Our phones were almost dead when we were leaving, so we were like begging, like, if our phones die, we are going to die.
We walk out of the stadium area to a local gas station, which was like a complete nightmare. And then, there was surge pricing for all the drivers.
Yeah. Like, it was ridiculous. It was fucking ridiculous. Like, same thing, surge pricing, everything went up. Cancellations left and right. Like, we had to go through Uber just to get a bunch of stuff refunded because they charged us so much. And then I think we got some credits and shit. I think they finally took care of us at the end. But It was like the next day. It wasn't a big deal like the next day, but like dealing with that at like 11, 12 at night in a city you've never been to, trying to get to your hotel, and your phones are literally on like 4%. Why the fuck are you glaring at me, Kat?
I had a thing. So they should have known better about Pasadena because in the late, I want to say it was it was the early 2000s. I went to, I don't know if you remember this at all, the Curiosa Festival.
Yeah. How was
I
that?
went the first date on the Curiosa Festival, which was in Tampa, Florida, which is where I lived for many, many years. But yeah, so seeing a bunch of Tampa, Florida has one of the strongest goth scenes in the U.S. I think it's like Tampa, L.A. I want to say like Minneapolis has a really good one, and then
Denver has a really good one too.
Denver does as well, but Florida, especially at the time, was very like PVC future pop, like very like I will put on my rubber dress and dance to like play Wolfsheim for me.
I was looking for some Wolfsheim on a vinyl. It's so hard to find. I was like, I gotta get something. I got my fiance's cat like out of, because I'm on my kitchen island right now while my desk isn't put together. So he likes to sit on the island. He's a big Maine Coon mix. If he comes over here, I'll put him on cam. But right in front of me, I have a sink here, and for some wild ass reason, this cat loves to drink from the faucet. We got him a one of those always flowing things just so he can. There he is. He's so fucking big. We got him one of these big flowing things. I'm like, oh, you might like this because he likes to scream until he gets the faucet turned on. Nope. Has to only have the forbidden water source.
This little monster had the same thing. We got her the Swan, which is
one of. I was looking at that. Yeah,
one morning she like tried to thwack the Swan and then just decided I'm not drinking from this fucking thing. And now we have to put out glasses for her to drink from because like
he likes to drink from fountains. Like in the bathroom, if you go in the bathroom, no. Meow, meow. And then he has to sit up there and just stares at you until you turn on the water fountain. He's like this giant ass. I think he might be part Bengal because we kind of shave him. He might shave him because he gets fur everywhere, but on his ass though, he has these sweet ass leopard prints.
Oh,
yeah, he's a good boy. He's super sweet. Here, I gotta hold him like a baby, or else he'll. There we go. There you go, buddy. He's got to be held like a baby. That's his favorite. He's significantly bigger than my cat, Abby, but he has to be held like a baby. Oh, you want down now? Are you done? But yeah, no, because I was looking at the Swan. I'm like, maybe it's just the arc of the water coming out. Maybe that's what he likes about it. And I think he's just a bougie ass cat, and he just wants water from a faucet. I'm tempted to try and like teach him how to like turn on the faucet because there's like a little lever. Like if they put any pressure on it, it'll like he could probably smack it a couple times. It'll turn on. Teach him how to turn it on and off. That could be cool. Water bill goes through the roof. Smack. Yeah, he just won't turn it off. He doesn't care. But yeah, no, that's just what he does. We got him. Go ahead.
But Curiosa had the same thing of okay, I'm there, t-shirt, jeans. My girlfriend at the time was there. I think like tank top and jeans, and we were a little hot. There were people in full body PVC leather fucking goth Cenobite dresses. Like, just don't. I understand you're at the Cure. I understand you want to be seen.
But you don't need to tie the heat
here in the middle of summer to a festival.
That's like a lot of what we saw too. There are people like full on long sleeve black. Yeah, and then people were fainting and stuff. They had like EMTs on site because people were like fainting because they were just dumb as shit. I'm just like dog wearing shorts and like my cutoff tee and my vest. I'm like, man, this sucks. Like, I don't want to be a part of any of this bullshit. And then it cooled down enough, and then we made our way to like the main area. It was fine.
I mean, speaking of John Waters, there's a fantastic John Waters special called "This Filthy World," where he extols to the crowd like S&M gear looks great, but don't wear it to the beach.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to dress up like an extra from cruising, all for you, but don't do it in 100-degree fucking weather. I mean, you can be a leather daddy all you want, but in 100-degree leather or weather, it's probably not a good idea. Yeah. Don't go full gimp to the beach, by the way. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. It's just not, Latex, probably not either. I don't think latex is great in hot weather. I've never worn latex, mind you, but I don't think that would be very fun in super, super fucking hot heat.
Chaps, though. Chaps might be the move.
Assless leather chaps.
You like full breeze coming through there. It's perfect.
Yeah, as long as you get a breeze coming up through there, that's all you need to stay cool. Assless leather chaps, get the vest. That's it, man. Because honestly, you have air coming here, up here. You're good to go. I mean, you're free balling at a concert. No one's gonna kick you out. No security guard in the world. I've done security for like venues and events and all that shit. And I know myself, if I had to kick out a dude for indecent exposure and he's some big old leather daddy with assless leather chaps and a vest and maybe the hat, I'd just be like, not today, dude. You're cool, dude. Nope. I want nothing to do with this. Like, I mean, you're going to get excited by the fact of being dragged out of there. So you're going to be okay. I don't want to fuck with the guy. Anyone that willingly shows up somewhere like with assless leather chaps, just leave that person alone. That person's on a completely different realm than all of you, and they don't need to be fucked with.
I think that we might have lived in Washington too long, just because, like I've lived in Capitol Hill for like 3 years. So like if I see somebody walking around wearing like full like PVC like pervert suit, I'm just sort of like, oh, Steve.
Steve?
Wow, buddy. It's he's out. He's out seeing the sun. Whereas like I feel like in other places, I don't know. I don't know what Minnesota's approach to
I think
leather chaps is going to be. Maybe there's less of a culture of people being okay while wearing assless leather chaps.
I think at some point, if we get enough support and viewers and subscribers, we might. And it's probably a pipe dream, but I think we might do a Frankenstein, Welcome to Frankenstein House roadshow, where we go to these areas and find guys like Steve and just really get the inside scoop. It's really great going across America and maybe overseas, just like hitting up leather bars. Like, who is your resident leather daddy? We got to interview him. How does it feel here in like 120-degree weather here? Dallas.
What do you think about Killing Joke?
What do you think about the Killing Joke? You guys looking for a good time? We're looking to do the podcast right now. We learned a lot on this trip.
Yeah, I don't know. Living where I do is really interesting because I live in probably like the queerest part of like Seattle, and
we're trying to find some places over in that Capitol Hill. Like we're hitting up that guy in that building. He never got back to us ever at all. Texted him a couple times. Called him, like, was it Jack? I think.
Jack.
Yeah, we tried. Yeah, because we were like, fuck it. Yeah, I'd love to live in Capitol Hill.
Yeah, he was in a situation. So he's now no longer with the Capitola. I don't know like what his deal was like right at the end, where if he was getting people into that building or not. But it's basically, it just seems like a situation where he was. I honestly don't know if he was like letting bringing new people into the building or not. I know there's a whole bunch of questions about whether the building's being sold or not right now. So,
ooh. And that wasn't that bad of a building. I remember when I was looking before I moved back across state, there was some okay stuff there. Like, I mean, a little expensive, but you know, for the price, not a bad area. Except I'd love to live in Capitol Hill. That would be fucking great.
Yeah.
A lot
Well,
of fun stuff.
Deal is interesting because it feels like it's definitely a place where there are a ton of like gay bars here, metal bars here. It just feels like they've, you know, a lot of them have been like kind of overrun by fairly mainstream people.
Pretty much. I remember going to the Unicorn back in the day, and then going there. I haven't been there in a while. I think I went there before I had moved out. It's a little different vibe.
Yeah.
I remember going when I first moved back a couple of years or so ago when I was living in Seattle. When I first moved back to Seattle, did this big old Capitol Hill ball crawl. Went to like a lot of the gay bars, a lot of fun bars, just going around and stuff. That was super fucking great. They always play the most killer music too.
Yeah.
I was good. Got drunk. Bart art from there's a Vermilion art show going on, and me being super fucking drunk was like, I'm gonna buy that one. And I like to get drunk and buy art, I guess. And it's on my wall somewhere. It's when they were doing that protest against like, you know, all the buildings being shut down. They took those signs and turned them into coffins and shit. I can't quite remember what it's called, but it's pretty alright. It's worth the $50 I spent. Got it a few weeks later. Completely forgot I spent money on art. I got a phone call. Hey, we got this thing you got to pick up. Like, who the fuck is this? Like, what are you talking about? Like, oh yeah, you like came in like a while back. You know, you put money down on this piece of art. You're ready to come pick it up. The installation or whatever's over. I'm like, so it is. I got there and I had no recollection at all because I was really fucking just really tore one on that night. And yeah, I went up there. I'm like, all right, cool, this is great. Like, it's like, oh, they were like confused at first, like, oh, you don't remember doing this? You sure you still want it? I'm like, yeah, I paid money for it. I'm gonna fucking come get it. Like, I don't care what it is.
Vermilion is one of those places, like, you know, out of, you know, there are so many places in Seattle that I hope survive. Like, I really hope survive this thing. But like at the top of the list of places is Vermilion, just because like Vermilion is a place that like you email them and you're like, I have this idea. I'm gonna be in a band where it's me screaming over a laptop where I pull the heads off of baby dolls, and they're like, would you like Thursday the 20th? Like it's just sort of like they will book any weird freaking thing. They will, you know, they're an awesome bar. They have art shows. They have
like I stumbled in there. They've done a lot of cool like DJ sets, band sets, art. Like,
my wife has done like a lot of poetry readings there. They really like, they don't care about being cool. They want to support like art in Seattle, and Vermilion being like that and doing that is honestly like, I really hope they survive because there's not a lot of places that'll do that anymore.
Yeah, no,
I hope they survive.
Always had a great fucking time there. So, but we've been meaning to catch some of your wife's art shows too. Like, it sucks living over in across the state when she was doing some, but we've been meaning to like catch some of that. So I'm gonna have to. She has a book she put out recently, right?
Salt is for Curing.
Yeah, that's fucking rad.
Available at if you're in Seattle, available at Gargoyle Statuary whenever they open.
I know, and we were actually just by there today. We're in the U District for a little bit, dropping off my computer and stuff, and saw Gargoyle. I'm like, I remember that.
Yeah, I got to check in with. So I know the owner. Her name's Gail. She's a wonderful human being. Like, I got to check up on with Gail and see if Gail's doing okay, because she's, I don't know, like her sort of. I don't know her business, so I don't know like how she runs everything, but I can't imagine a lot of retail businesses in Seattle have a lot of like financial leeway one way or the other. So hopefully she's going to be able to keep her space. Hopefully because she's been there since the 90s. and hopefully she's going to be able to, she's going to be able to survive.
I hope so too. I don't live too far from the district. We're over in Greenwood. But then when I lived in the district, I just loved walking those areas. Like Gargoyle was always great to check out. Like there's such a great eclectic mix of just shops as you go down that on the street there. And man, there's some cool shit. I remember there's like this weird little like comic music kind of a mixed weird shop over there. I remember arguing with somebody over the price of vinyl because it was all fucking beat up and they were trying to get like, what was it? It was like a Virgin Prunes they were trying to get like a fuck ton out of. And I like Discogs that shit because that's what I do. I'm like, Discogs, this is worth this much in really good condition. And this condition is really bad. I'll give you like $15 for it. No, we want 60. And I'm like, well, good luck with that. I'm going to order this off Discogs. Like, not a great salesman, are you? Where can we get her book at? I see on Amazon it's like unavailable except for Kindle. I guess I can get it for my iPad, but I'd rather have a physical copy. So
I think it might still be up on the Etsy site. We've been trying to avoid doing a lot of mail stuff, but I guess we started doing that again. I just sent out a whole bunch of books to various like review sites, places like that. But yeah, if let me just see here. Sold this for curing.
Hey, it's on Walmart for $14 by the Book Pros.
Well, if Walmart's got it,
Walmart has it.
Yeah. Okay, hold on a second here.
Let me see here. There we go. Fuck yeah. So I can like Venmo her money and get a book.
If they have it available right now, I will put it up on. I'll put it up on the YouTube description and up on the Facebook group or the Facebook page.
You gotta like plug your. Looks like SPD has it.
Okay.
See, so, but you gotta plug your new comic that you just put out too.
Yeah, so, okay, Welcome Home is a 7-page comic I just released on my mailing list. I'll eventually have it up other places, but if you want to read it now, it's up on my mailing list. So if you go to tinyletter.com/ritual83, or if you just go to my Twitter, I'll have it plugged all over the place on my freaking Twitter. But it's basically, it's a haunted house story mashed up with like an 80s crime drama. It's supposed to be like you're like imagine an 80s crime movie starring Mickey Rourke accidentally wanders into a haunted house.
Like we're talking about like the poor man's Bruce Willis era Mickey Rourke.
Yeah.
Because I mean, goddamn, like if we can you pull up a photo of like Mickey Rourke from like the 80s? Like a lot of his movies, he was literally like the poor man's Bruce Willis. In fact, he was better than Bruce Willis in a lot of aspects and a lot of his acting and stuff. And it never ceases to amaze me when I watch a lot of older movies with Mickey Rourke before you know, he fucked up his face, you know. Yeah. That man, phenomenal actor to begin with, but like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, hold on. I'm just gonna like just show this picture of Mickey frickin' Rourke, who is just like you can see like why he would be like the new Bruce Willis. Like he has that kind of chin. He's got the intensity on his face. And then the fact that he became what he became is really interesting. Well, it's okay. So like Mickey Rourke, you gotta kind of have to understand as well that he decided like after he stopped getting a lot of work in Hollywood that he was going to become a bare knuckle boxer.
Yeah. And
then he had his face flattened, and then he became modern Mickey Rourke with a lot of brain damage and a lot of plastic surgery.
Yep. That's so
it goes.
Mickey Rourke.
But yeah, so it's basically imagine an 80s or 90s crime drama that jumps into a horror movie. Effectively, it is three bank robbers. Their bank robbery goes horribly wrong. They take a whole bunch of hostages. They load them into a van. They hightail it out of town. Their van breaks down right outside of a haunted house. So they pull those hostages in there. Meanwhile, the police are assembling outside. So there's a giant standoff. It's criminals versus cops in the middle of a haunted house. I think it's one of the better things I've written. I'm really proud of it. I want more people to read it. So if you have the opportunity, please sign up to my mailing list. I'll get a copy of it right out to you. And if not, I will get it online elsewhere at some other point.
Well, I enjoyed it. Like I said, I got it. I'm on the mailing list, so I got that when you sent it out, and I dug it for like a 7-page, just I wouldn't call it quick, but a good little good story. Just it does definitely reminds me of kind of one of those like 90s kind of actiony horror kind of a thing.
Yeah,
things could go wrong, and they did.
Yeah, it's one of those things. So there was a show in the '90s that I really really enjoyed that might have had more of an influence on my writing than I imagined, called The Hunger. Semi-related to the '80s movie, but not really. Have you ever heard of it?
Yeah. Hold on, that sounds insanely familiar. All right, I just ordered Sonia's book, so there you go. Remember The Hunger? That's right.
So it was the first season was God. I'm trying to remember who was the host of it, but it was sort of a Tales from the Crypt type show where it was basically there was a host and they would be telling you they'd be giving you like a weird monologue about the theme of the episode that you're about to watch, and then there would be a TV show. So it's Terrence Stamp the first season, and then the second season was David Bowie, but not playing his character from the Hunger movie. But there was some phenomenally there were some people who went on to do stuff like Daniel Craig was first on the show before he blew up, and like Timothy Spall and Balthazar Getty and
that's right, Tony
and
Scott,
Carlo Esposito, and they would adapt stories by Robert Aikman or by Poppy Z. Bright, who I mentioned before, Billy Martin, Gemma Files, and people like that. So it was like they oh Christ, I didn't realize they did a Harlan Ellison adaptation. I'm gonna have to watch that later.
Oh yeah, fucking David Bowie. Yeah, and Tony Scott, man. Tony Scott, between him and Ridley, and of course I love Ridley. I love like Aliens and shit. But like fucking True Romance.
Yeah.
Like, come on, dude. Tony Scott was the shit.
Yeah.
Tony Scott was a great director. I mean, a lot of his movies, like Domino, I remember that from the night. Speaking of Mickey Rourke, he was in Domino.
Yeah.
And Domino was great. Like for what it was a pretty good movie.
Nice. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Yeah, it's one of those situations that so Mickey Rourke absolutely is a much better actor than I think people like to give him credit for. And I like Tony Scott's a similar situation where I feel like he doesn't have the panache of Ridley, but I feel like he has more consistency than Ridley.
He does, yeah. He's definitely a lot more consistent than Ridley than Ridley. It's like Tony Scott's, all of his stuff, he seems more focused. I want to say that. I mean, yeah, more focused, because I mean, we can go through like Ridley Scott's fucking filmography pretty quick, and we can easily start getting hung up on like Aliens and things like that. Yeah. And be like, well, that wasn't a great move, was it, Ridley? Prometheus wasn't that good. I don't know. I like
Prometheus more than Covenant. I will give it that.
I like Covenant, but I need to watch because I watched it, and Tommy gives me shit all the time for it because I got to watch Because I remember the first time we tried watching it, I bootlegged it, me and him. I'm sorry, I bought it, not bootleg. I bought it by legitimate means, and I passed out while we were watching it. And then I remember watching. I remember just being a struggle to watch it, but it was pretty good because Covenant's the one with David and then the other android and stuff, where David and
Michael or something.
Yeah, Michael and stuff, and it was cool. I mean, Guy Pearce was in it. I mean, come on, Pearce. Which is, if you want a fun Guy Pearce movie to watch Lockout.
Yeah, or LA Confidential. Have you ever seen that one?
Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Ridley Scott, he has that big name, and I feel like Tony Scott's delivered more consistently than Ridley by far.
Yeah,
not saying like Ridley is bad or shitty or anything. I just my personal opinion that I can watch a Tony Scott film and be like, "This is fucking Tony Scott. This is it's what I expected." I watched Ridley Scott, and I might put a little more expectation on him because it's fucking Ridley Scott. But
Ridley Scott's like highs are higher, but I feel like Tony Scott has more consistency, and especially when you have Tony Scott with Denzel Washington, because I know they made 3 or 4 movies together.
Yeah,
Tony Scott and Denzel Washington, just like you put that one guy behind the camera and the other guy in front of the camera, and it's good. It's a good.
You're making
it's always.
I know it's pretty sucks that Tony Scott died. I was pretty upset when that happened because like all of his films have just been like for the most part were pretty great. True Romance is still one of my all-time favorites. I mean, it's kind of like one of my all-time favorite Tarantino films, but not being a Tarantino film. It is and it isn't. Like he wrote it, and Tony Scott and that's the thing is like if Tarantino is a great director, like phenomenal director. Like he has a vision. He's really good at stealing things from people, and that's his shtick. And he does a really good job. He knows what he's doing. He's a nerd. But like getting Tarantino writing and somebody else that's good to direct it, I feel like he should be doing way fucking more of that. Because like True Romance was fucking great. Like there's not one part of that movie where I'm like, oh, this sucks. That movie from beginning to end was fucking great. And I kind of wish they kind of used more of his script. It was a little more darker. Tony kind of didn't use all of it, like where Clarence is supposed to have died and shit. Clarence wasn't supposed to survive any of that. But it was cool because, that was back when Christian Slater was the shit. So that entire cast, and, the dialogue was still phenomenal. The whole in the beginning with Samuel L. Jackson stuff, the whole conversation they were having about fellatio, that was pretty good.
Well, I mean, like that's sort of the Quentin Tarantino written but directed by somebody else. Like there's only a couple of those. The other one was Natural Born Killers, right?
Yeah, the Natural Born Killers was good.
Yeah, that was another like kind of defining 90s cinema moments. Oliver Stone doing a fucking Quentin Tarantino script,
And then you get like the extended or the director's cut or whatever, where they have all the extra shit, like the Dennis Leary scenes and stuff like that. It's one of those movies that I like a lot, that I have to watch like every 5 years or so. I can't do the whole. And I think I gave someone shit a while back because I get pretty I get pretty pissy when people pull the whole like, I want a relationship like Joker and Harley, or I like Mickey and Mallory, and I'm like, are you really a fan of the movie, or you just found something to latch on to that you really didn't get the point of the movie at this point? Because like, it's a great fucking movie, and it's a lot in it to process, but no point throughout that movie was I like, I want to be like Mickey and Mallory.
Nothing in that movie is aspirational.
Nothing in that movie makes me want to be like, except for maybe Robert Downey Jr.'s character, which was fucking great. Yeah. Like his character was fucking awesome. And then you got Tommy Lee Jones as Tommy Lee Jones, the warden. Like it's just there's nothing in that movie that makes me want to be like, fuck, you know what I really want? What I really need, this void in my soul and the cockles of my heart. I need a partner that's like Mallory
Yeah.
Killed her, abusive. I mean, rightly so. Probably should have killed off Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah.
I quote that scene all the time. I'm gonna give you a little tenderness after I eat. He's such a great creep. He's such a great sleaze. That entire casting was phenomenal, but nothing in that movie makes me want to like
Be that?
or emulate that. And when people will post stuff or they'll tell me like, or I'll see it on like Facebook or something, people like post it like, oh, that's my favorite movie. I'm like, I'm looking for a Mallory to my Mickey. And I'm like, gross. Like, so you just want to like be a piece of shit? Or the best one is still always like Joker and Harley. Like, I want a Harley to my Joker. Oh, so you want to manipulate someone to the point where they lose all sense of self and then continue to abuse and manipulate them until they become, okay, I get it. You're a piece of shit. You could have just said you were an incel and we could have saved like all of this.
And then like, they come back. It's like, no, I just like want to find somebody who's into like dressing like a clown sometimes.
I mean, that's all you had to say. Why don't you just say you're looking for a juggler at that point? I mean, like, there you go. Because I'm pretty sure as much as I am not an ICP fan whatsoever, but I'm pretty, like, I think I'm overstretching it a bit. I would like to say that I'm pretty sure most of their people involved in that culture with the jugglers probably have a better relationship than Joker and Harley. I want to say that. Like, I want to say that, but also my own personal experiences with that subculture hasn't been the best. But I think I could probably say, with having some sort of faith in humanity, that I could possibly say that type of relationship is still miles ahead better than Joker.
Yeah. That's I think a very safe bet. I don't know. Just like the ideal. I mean, I guess like on one hand, like the idealization of these of these kind of creepy, like fictional relationships. Yeah, they suck. But I think like on the other hand, like I don't think a lot of the people who say they want that kind of relationship have been thinking about it too deeply. Like it feels very much like one of those things like, yeah, it ain't as deep as that, bro.
Yeah, like there's been multiple times. There's when Suicide Squad hit. There was multiple times I had to like break it down because I have a lot of younger cousins that were like, and then first off, I'm like, why the fuck did you watch that piece of shit of a movie? I mean, not to be fair, I watched it in theaters because I was on a date with somebody, and that was a terrible idea because I did not enjoy that film at all.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a terrible shit fest of a movie. But when I was, having like younger family members like looking for a Joker to my Harley, and I had to like, I went full on. I broke down like the whole Harley Quinn and Joker, like the whole animated series. Like it was like, if you saw the post, it was almost like Martin Luther's like thesis that he nailed to the church. It's just this long fucking post. I have all my cats all around me too, but this long post breaking it down, and I realized people aren't going to read that. I should just be like, you're fucking dumb. Read into like the actual relationship.
Yeah.
Terrible. It is nothing more than a shit house fest. There's nothing, even in the animated series, there's like an arc where she like basically like she like becomes her own person. She like stops being that stereotype. And I reference that a lot. I'm like, guys, like, if you want a great, solid fucking animated show, watch the animated series of Batman. Not only is it phenomenal, not only is it fucking great, like probably the end all be all of Batman, really. Like, there's so many great story arcs, and one of the main ones is Harley Quinn fucking not fucking with Joker anymore. It was great. It was awesome to see a character that seeing people presumed was just made as an attachment to the Joker is actually being her own character and becoming more of a standout character. It's fucking great.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite Batman arcs has been the Batman White Knight saga, because it's very based in the 90s animated style. And it's effectively what it did is it creates the idea that Harley Quinn from the 90s animated show and the Harley Quinn from the Suicide Squad movie and like a modern comics are actually different characters.
Yeah, I heard about that where they're like two different people. You have Harley Quinzel, and then there's actually the one from Suicide Squad is completely isn't the one from Suicide Squad.
her name is like Marion Drew, and
it's a marionette, like supposed to be like a marionette kind of a thing.
or oh god, what was it? No, so like Marion Drew, it was a joke because I guess like an old school name for a clown is a Harley Quinn.
Yeah,
And a different old school name for a clown is a Mary Andrew.
Mary Andrews, yeah.
Mary Andrew, Marion Drew. Yeah. It's a joke based on that.
I heard about that. I hadn't read that arc yet, but I had heard like rumblings about kind of like the whole how they're two different characters, which makes sense because if you do watch like the animated series and you keep up with Harley, like, and then you see like that Suicide Squad stuff, they're vastly different characters. Like, personality wise, just everything. They were two completely different people, and so that I'm glad they actually put something out like that. They're kind of like they're actually two different people.
And then when I'm not really spoiling anything like that. It's because it's sort of like the plot point of this arc. So it's the idea that they come up with a pill that can turn the Joker sane.
Oh,
and so he becomes effectively becomes the Joker without insanity, but with all of the intelligence and all of the hatred.
I remember you referenced that a while back. I think we were talking about that, where basically he becomes a better villain. Or doesn't he run for like mayor or something? Doesn't he do something like he takes all that and basically it's what was it? I remember you talking about it though.
So it's a thing where
crazy anymore and he's more dangerous.
He demonstrates how friggin' dangerous Batman is to Gotham City, and it to the point where like he starts going into like Gotham City's Gotham City's like the laws and the various like bylaws and things, and realizes and finds out that there's like all of these like different like funds set up to rebuild Gotham City after Batman related like catastrophes happen that like various politicians are just using as like slush funds for whatever they want, and starts like dismantling that, but at the same time also
he's for mayor or something.
Terrible. Sorry,
wasn't he trying to run for mayor or something?
At one point, yeah, he's running for mayor, and then
he's like breaking it down, just basically like, here it is, guys. Batman's a piece of shit.
And then in the middle of this, the second Harley Quinn, because of the loss of Joker, has just decided to become the new Joker, and she's like working with the Mad Hatter to take control of all the villains in Gotham City, and like it starts blowing shit up. It's fantastic, and the writer.
Speaking of the Mad Hatter, I thought he was portrayed pretty well in Gotham, though.
I liked him in Gotham. I liked him a lot.
He was great. It's really cool to see one of those characters, that had a lot of good moments in some of the comics, especially like in the 90s and stuff. Actually, like they take one of those characters and expand him more. Like there's a lot of like Batman. I mean, people joke like Batman has like the best villains. Kind of does. Like of all the DCU, Batman has some of the best innovative villains. They've done a lot of cool shit with the villains. Even a lot of villains are like, maybe on the surface they don't seem much. Like when they start going into them, you're like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Like the Mad Hatter. Mad Hatter is fucking great. I mean, it's like Alice in Wonderland like ripoff. Come on, guys. Like someone that controls people with these cards here. Here you go.
Yeah. There was some really, really good ones created for the mid 2000s Grant Morrison Batman and Robin run, where it was Dick Grayson and Damian as Dick Grayson. So like Nightwing takes on the role of Batman after.
Oh shit! Was like Dick Grayson as Robin.
So no, Dick Grayson is Batman and then Damian is Robin, and they have like a whole thing of. So like with a new Batman and Robin, new villains start appearing because it's one of two writers, him and Scott Snyder, kind of run off of this whole thing of like Gotham City is a machine that creates villains to create the Batman to fight the Batman. So every time there's a new Batman, there's new villains who will show up to fight him. So there's
The whole like point of a lot of people make, especially like the villains like Joker start making about Batman. Batman, these villains wouldn't exist if there was like, you know, a resistible force meets an unmovable object kind of thing. This wouldn't exist without this. So if Batman didn't exist, we wouldn't have these super, you know, villains and all this stuff because.
Yeah.
But
so
I mean,
where Bruce Wayne Batman had the Mad Hatter, Dick Grayson Batman has Mr. Toad from Wind in the Willows.
Fucking really?
Yeah.
Mr. fucking Toad.
As Mr. Toad, and then later on has and this guy showed up in Gotham as well, but he was a Dick Grayson Batman character, Professor Pig. I love Professor Pig, who is this like
this, they did him in Gotham, right? They did Professor Pig in Gotham.
Yeah, they did him in Gotham too. He's very different. He's very different in the comics, but yeah.
In Gotham, that was a pretty cool story arc with Mr. Pig for a moment.
Yeah.
The fact that he was like off and on cops and stuff, and
I did like him in Gotham mainly because like he was like singing songs from the musical Chicago.
Yeah, that's what he would just fuck Mr. Pig. I was wondering where he came from when I was watching Gotham. I'm like, where the fuck did they pull him from? Like,
he was a
cool
Dick
like,
Grayson villain. Yeah,
Mr. Pig was great, dude. I'm gonna have to read that arc now because those Mr. Pig.
Yeah, he was from it, and then the Flamingo. I think he was also in Gotham.
I don't think hold on.
The Flamingo.
What was the Flamingo? Let
me see if I can pull it up here.
Oh yeah.
Remember him? Yeah.
Yeah. How could you not remember that? That dude is. In fact, I think for this Halloween you should just go as the Flamingo. There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, he showed up in. Yeah.
Are you pulling up the screenshot from like Wikipedia of him on his fucking Purple Rain-esque motorcycle? Like he's about to take you to purify yourselves in the waters of Lake Minnetonka. Like that's exactly what it looks like. It looks like it was drawn from the Prince and the Revolution album of him on his fucking wild ass purple motorcycle. Oh my god, that's so fun.
Yeah, let me just share this with the class here.
You should. I mean,
here we go. All right, here we go.
Oh, it's so fucking. It is. It's like it looks, and you have like fucking Damien and Dick Grayson just down there. But he literally looks like if we can like put a side to side of like Prince of the Revolution album. Prince. Hold on, let's see here. Basically, like the Purple Rain album cover. Honestly, it's literally if like.
And then they had.
It's legitimately drawn. It's like for the most part, you can tell it's so influenced by that.
Yeah, and then there was, and I've talked about this a little bit online. Of they had so the Red Hood as a Batman character is a character that has been around for a while. So like the Red Hood, the original Red Hood was probably Joker.
Yeah, I remember.
And then they brought him back, and it was Tim Drake. And they had him. And let me just pull up. Let me see if I can pull up. I'm sorry, not Tim Drake. Jason Todd.
Yeah, Jason Todd. Was he? I think he had the longest tenure as the Red Hood, though. Like Joker kind of was, you know, but I think Jason Todd had a decent run as had a pretty decent run as the Red Hood.
Yeah, and let me just open this up in a new tab there. So like that's the traditional, or I guess like that tends to be the way that they do the Red Hood as. But
I mean,
so
you want to show the cylinder Red Hood mask.
Yeah,
just like,
yeah. So the
like
one that I really
trying
like from the
from
North Run, which is this one.
Yeah,
like I love the idea of him just like becoming like the anti-Batman.
I know, but Jason Todd was a very interesting character. Jason Todd, I'm going to be Batman, but I'm going to murder people as Batman. And that's really it. Like Jason Todd, I mean, they had the Azrael, or was it Azrael storyline?
Those,
Jump Off Valley, where he kind of like, oh, but like Jason Todd, basically, I could be Batman, but better. You know how I'm going to be better? I'm just going to fucking murder them, and that's it. That's it. What's your superpower? A fucking gun. Knock it the fuck off. Like, and he like, it's been a long time since I read that story arc, but he kind of cleans up Gotham and just straight up murders people. He doesn't give a shit. Just like, boom, you're dead. Like, I don't, like, it's Jason fucking Todd. So, oh, Jesus Christ. Jason Todd. I remember as a kid reading that stuff and just being like, holy shit, this guy's just murdering fucking people. But I mean, the first like 2 Batman movies, he's basically murdering people too. So, Tim Burton movies, you ever watch like, you know, Batman Returns? He legitimately is like throwing grenades at people and shit. Like the first like opening sequence with all that stuff, he's just killing people. But it's Tim Burton, so in Danny Elfman's soundtrack, so it's very. I think Danny Elfman did that soundtrack, didn't he?
Danny Elfman, yep. No, he did the first.
If it's Tim Burton, it's Danny Elfman, basically. So.
Oh, and let me show you because we were talking about this the other week. I'll show you. I'll show you like the biggest dick move in comics of all time. Hold on here. So here we are. Where are you taking me? To the one true enemy of the great Charles Xavier.
Oh, yes! Honestly, that's all you have to do to be Charles Xavier. Like, where's your mind powers now, bitch? Jean Grey, pick me up. She's dead. Phoenix died a long time.
That's this. So this is Ultimate X-Men. So that's this universe version of Mr. Sinister. So he has a jewel in his forehead, which I think is blocking out psychic powers. So like literally, Charles Xavier is a guy in a wheelchair.
Wasn't that Wolverine tossing him down some stairs?
I think that was in Old Man Logan. Yeah.
Old Man Logan was a great. We should probably do that at some point. Yeah. Just because I really want to spend like a good hour and a half segment on what an incestuous piece of shit the Hulk is in that. Like we're really gonna like, even though it's a good part of the story, but it's by far not like a big chunk of the story. Yeah. But we could really just like squeeze a bunch of like life out of that just by like, look at what a piece of shit Hulk is. Fucking his family members and breeding. Look at his dumbass hillbilly kids, you know. Like there's gonna be a lot of making fun of hillbillies going through that. And then you get to the scene where like, you know, you got Red Skull fucking like wearing Captain America's fucking bloody ass like suit and just being a piece of shit. Like that was such a great, the whole Marvel Zombies and the Old Man Logan thing. Like Marvel Zombies was fucked up.
Yeah, it was really so that came from Ultimate Fantastic Four, and that was so it kind of when they first introduced it, they were like, oh, they're finally crossing over Ultimate Marvel with regular Marvel. It's really exciting, and then they reveal when Reed Richards from the Ultimate Universe goes over to this other universe, they realize, oh shit, they're zombies. Yeah, and then they build the whole.
You see Johnny Storm coming back, grabbing a gun. What's up? Zombies. What? There's zombies on that dimension. What? Zombies just grabbing weapons. Nope. Got to kill zombies.
And I feel like the actual like Marvel Zombies, the first like actual series of that was written by Robert Kirkman from The Walking Dead. Yeah. Which is interesting. Because they're very different as far as like the portrayal of zombies.
I got to go through it was a long time ago. One of my exes, she had a bunch of Walking Dead. I remember going through those. Vastly superior to the show. The show is terrible. There's some good scenes in the show, but I remember my biggest gripe with The Walking Dead, and that's the biggest one, was I can't remember if it's season 1 or season 2. I can't be bothered to look it up to see, but I remember this one episode dealing with like an alcoholic, and you know everyone making a big deal. And that's the thing is, So they made a big deal about it. Spoiler alert, I don't care. The show's been on forever. Dude eventually dies, in a place trying to get some booze. And people were like, giving this guy shit for being an alcoholic. Let me tell you what, if I survived a zombie apocalypse and watched everyone I've known and loved being eaten and dismembered in horrific ways, and I now have to live in this society of surviving the zombie apocalypse, you're goddamn right I'm going to be alcoholic. And the first motherfucker to tell him, give me shit otherwise, I'll probably kill him. Because, again, I just watched everything I known and loved just dying it. And the thing with the biggest issue of the Walking Dead TV show is that they try so hard, because Robert Kirkland did a pretty good job throughout the books and stuff, but the writers, and stuff for the Walking Dead, I feel like they, like a lot of zombie movies or anything that continues on for a while, trying to get people in, they have this issue of trying to insert reality into this, where they try to put real life problems in this, and real life problems like being alcoholic has nothing to do in that type of a world. That's nothing. That's probably how you survive that world. Is like a fifth of Johnny Walker and hoping to God that maybe you die in your sleep or you wake up the next day. And that's the thing is I feel like that show in particular had this thing where they kept trying to insert drama into it, and not the kind of drama you would expect in post-apocalyptic war. The kind of fucking dumbass drama I would see in other stupid shows that are based in reality and not in a post-apocalyptic fantasy. And I don't give a shit. I don't care if the guy's an alcoholic. I'm right there with him. I would be like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm taking shots with him on the show. But fuck it, oh whatever. It's just in that point in the show, I kind of realized, wow, they answer all these real life issues into the show that a lot of them don't translate very well or at all, and so it kind of makes it feel like not quite like a soap opera, but just it feels super unnecessary. I think that's kind of what contributed to the downfall of that show, because I remember when that show debuted and everyone was excited. We get a zombie TV show? Fuck yeah. And the first few episodes were all right. The first season was okay. I remember I started watching again when Negan came back, because that was one of my favorite characters in the comics. I'm like, wow, I wonder what they're going to do. Are they really going to show what happens in the comic? The fact that everyone's fangirling over Glenn and stuff? Because I know what happens to Glenn. I've read the comics. And I have friends that have never read the comics. And they were like, I love Glenn. I'm like,
Bye-bye.
Yeah, wait till you see what happens in season fucking 5. You think you like Glenn and stuff, nah, dude, they fucking, and the thing is, I remember I had a handful of friends that were like, I didn't tell them. I just okay. When they, Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Negan was, of course, he's gonna be the best person. Maybe Josh Brolin might have pulled it off better, but
Jeffrey Dean Morgan is one of the better actors.
And he's phenomenal. We were going through, and I'm showing Courtney all of Supernatural and shit, and so Jeffrey Dean Morgan, man, and so going through that whole that whole friends oh, they're gonna air it tonight, the whole thing. I'm sitting there and my Facebook just blows up with all the friends. Say Merc Abraham, which sucks, but I knew they were gonna do something else. They gotta change it up a bit. The fact that when they Merc Abraham, I was like, ooh, are they gonna ignore Glenn because of how popular it is? They can't do that. If they do that, I'm gonna straight up turn this show off and never watch it again. And they murked Glenn, of course, and he died pretty close to what he did in the comics, which was really fucked up. And that's the thing, is that's what that situation was like. That's what living in a post-apocalyptic society would look like. It's going to be fucked up. The things that we think, are drama or are, these are big deals, are not in that kind of a society. So fuck it. If you're not whatever, but don't be Glenn. Don't be Glenn. And I stopped watching after that too, because I got one. I watched that. I watched a couple episodes after that. I'm like, whatever. This show sucks. I don't need to watch it anymore. And I haven't. I tried so hard to go back through and just maybe I'm missing something. Maybe it's the wrong time. No, it's not. Anytime I try to rewatch that show, it's terrible.
Yeah, it's
graphic novels. They took too many liberties with it.
It's the zombies. Give me a mummy. I want a mummy. If you give me a mummy in The Walking Dead, just all the it's just open up the concept of The Walking Dead. Give me mummies. Give me little green ghouls.
Well, the fact
We can
that
have some piece as well. You know, maybe.
I think they finally killed off Rick. The thing is, they killed off Carl, and I remember that if I remember right, and it's been a long time to read the books. Carl's like doesn't die at all. That's in the books, as far as I remember. It's been a long time, but I remember Rick dying pretty early on because Rick's not the main character of that story. But they kind of changed it up quite a bit. They killed off Carl. They killed off Rick. I have no idea. Pretty much like the Norman Reedus versus zombies.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I like Norman Reedus to an extent, but I mean, I don't think he can carry a show.
I mean, he could barely carry Death Stranding. So,
did you play that?
Yeah,
I did, and I'm a big Kojima fan. Like, I am a huge Metal Gear. Like, that dude is. Did you hear that they're possibly doing Silent Hills again? They got Konami and Kojima are talking to do it, and they're trying to get Norman and Guillermo to do it.
I'll believe it when I see it. But the fact that so Bloober Team, the people behind Blair Witch, they got Akira Yamaoka, who is the
Is that Silent Hills?
track guy for. Mm-hmm. He's the guy who did all the music for the first 7 of them.
Yeah.
The fact that they him and I'm trying to remember the guy. I think his name is Masahiro Ito. Is just not he's not doing anything regarding Silent Hill right now. I feel like I would be interested in an independent game made by Hideo, and because he was talking about working with Junji Ito from Uzumaki, who's one of my favorite manga writers and artists, and with Guillermo del Toro. If those 3 dudes made an independent horror title together, I'd play the hell out of that. I'd be really excited. I don't know if a Silent Hill game from them though.
But we all know Konami fucked up royally when they when they got rid of Hideo. That's a dumb. And I know it was, if I remember right, it was a combination of them getting rid of him and him leaving. But Konami, think about what has carried Konami besides Castlevania. It's been Metal Gear. It's been Metal Gear, and I'm a huge Metal Gear fan. But the fact that David Hayter kind of got dicked over in Metal Gear 4 or Metal Gear 5, which I'm a huge David Hayter fan. And the fact that he got dicked over, that I was upset. Kiefer Sutherland was all right. I get the need to separate Big Boss from Solid Snake, and that's something they should have done down the line instead of David Hayter doing it all. And I have no problems with David Hayter doing it all. 0 problems because it's David fucking Hayter. If he's in it, I'm gonna play it or watch it because it's David fucking Hayter. Was he in the Guyver? I'm gonna watch David Hayter. It's the fucking Guyver. I'm gonna fucking watch it. But
so I have they were having Junji Ito do art designs for it, and Junji Ito is he made Io and he made Uzumaki, which is another one of my favorites. But seriously,
what?
It's so fucked up.
You have to send me the link to that book. I want to check that out.
Absolutely, it's a whale on rope spider legs, and it's gonna fuck you up.
I think Courtney was telling me about that artist a while back when we were looking at I think we're at Wajimaya and looking at stuff down. We're up here back in March. It was there's a horror artist. I think it looks a lot like that. Yeah. Is that what's his name again? Junji Ito? Yeah, that's it. Yeah, she was like, you need to read this stuff. You really like it. I'm like, I probably would. I love fucking horror.
Yeah, see if Courtney.
Oh shit, Courtney, come here. Hold on. Check out his
Oh shit.
That's fucking cool.
You're a big Twin Peaks fan. Oh wait.
Oh yeah, I got
Oh yeah, she's got did a bunch of Twin Peaks sleeves, tattoo stuff.
Oh, that's so fucking cool. Yeah. Meanwhile.
Yeah.
Somewhere. Coffee.
Yeah. We're actually wanting to do our wedding at Salish.
Oh, it's awesome. We had a
room. I was talking to Sonia a little bit about that on Instagram. Asking how it was because I've never been up there. So I was like, how is it? Because we're thinking about doing our wedding or something or shit like that up there. Because she's after showing it to her, she's like gone full Twin Peaks, and I'm like, fucking, it's great.
Yeah. Salish is a lovely, lovely hotel. It doesn't look like the Great Northern, but it has a really cool vibe about it. It's and they, it's just, I mean, it is in the middle of the woods, so it looks really cool. It has the waterfall right outside of it. They just did a thing too, where I guess they sold it back to the local native groups. So it's going to be it's going to be like entirely like operated and run by Native Americans. So it's going to be
Fuck
yeah.
Hell yeah. I've been meaning to check it out. Like, but that's where we've been talking about for a while of doing, because she really wants to go there and do the wedding or even the reception. I don't know, one of the two, something there, which would be cool. It's expensive as fuck, but it would be cool.
It is, yeah, but
very expensive. But we'll do something like that. Hopefully, you guys aren't moved overseas yet, or else you'll have to come to that, because that'll be fun.
Yeah. All right, man. I think it is time to bring this meeting of the Midnight Society to a close. We're gonna pour some sand on this bonfire and curse the name of what the hell is this guy even called? G.K. Chesterton, fucking
whatever his ass is.
Yeah. Oh god, D.G. Chichester, Dan Chichester, I guess, as his website calls him. Maybe maybe he's a better marketing writer than he was a comic book writer, but I do his comics.
Not great. So this was our half-ass review of the first 4 issues or so.
Let's do Old Man Logan next week. Let's take a little break from pure horror and just dip right into some batshit insanity from Mark Millar.
Yeah, let's. That'll be fun getting into. Let me see if it's on Comixology. I probably got to buy it, but
yeah, I don't know if it's on Unlimited, but I'll buy it.
Yeah, I'll probably snag that and give it a go.
Okay.
Oh shit! Oh man, no, it's on Unlimited. Old Man Logan's on Unlimited, so we can absolutely go through that without buying it. So we'll see if I can find like the deluxe edition and just make it work. So yeah, no, we've kind of gave a half-ass review of Nightbreed. Mostly went off about the movie and its various, out of various releases. Yeah. We went off about it.
One adaptation to film, but that seems to have had like 4 or 5 different lives. So that's.
It has. It's had quite a few, but they're all really good. Like right after the other, like, they just add more content to it, and I'm really waiting for it. I really got to look it up. I'm a terrible fan, but I got to look up and see when that 3.5 hour or so cut that's supposed to come out, because I'm gonna watch the ever-loving fuck out of that. Like just like I did the Watchmen director's cut, which is the ultimate cut, which is the only cut you need to watch of the Watchmen. If I don't give a fuck, like if you're gonna watch it, watch the ultimate cut, which is
half of your life watching it. But yes,
it's like it's 3.5, 4 hour thing. Yeah, that's the only time if I watch the Watchmen, it's going to be that 3 some odd hour, 4 hour fucking cut with everything added to it, all the weird side stories, and it just gives you a better idea of the universe. It gives you a better feeling of it versus what the theatrical cut did, which was still pretty good, but if you're that kind of a nerd, you want that extra stuff. So.
Yeah. All right, for this next week, we will do Old Man Logan, and I will do something which I have actually not done in the past, which is I am going to watch Logan. I'm going to actually watch the film.
You haven't watched Logan?
Never watched it. No,
I watched it in theaters, and I watched it once, so I'll watch it again. I've only seen the movie once. I remember leaving the theater being like, this was fucking great. And it's really...
I know it's very different.
Wolverine basically. Wolverine send-off. Like fucking Hugh Jackman, basically Wolverine send-off, basically. It's good. It's not like it all Old Man Logan at all. There's bits and pieces of it that are, but to kind of set you up for it, none of the Hulk shit's in there. In fact, nothing is really in there besides... what's his face? Cabal. Is that his name? He's in it. There's a few other stuff.
Cabal, I think.
Stephen
Cabal.
Merchant, Cabal, yeah, I think so. Stephen Merchant plays him in this version. Apocalypse. What's his face from Barry? Did you watch Barry on HBO with?
You're talking about the guy who played Zaz in Gotham. That guy.
Yeah, that guy. That guy is phenomenal. I love that dude. Whatever he's in, he's amazing. It's Victor Zsasz. He's exactly like Victor Zsasz as I mentioned in the comics.
He's charismatic as hell. I love him.
If you've never seen Barry, do yourself a favor. You guys should sit down, binge watch Barry on HBO. It's fucking good. Bill Hader is a hitman. That's all you need to know. Is Bill Hader is a hitman, and Bill Hader's fucking phenomenal actor. But Logan is. They borrow parts of the story for it, which I was disappointed to learn because I was really hoping for incestuous whole, and then the whole like fucked upness because it captures some of it, but he's basically dealing with him and Xavier being, he has dementia, his Alzheimer's, he has dementia. So he's dealing with Xavier and he's dealing with X23? Or is that her name? The little Wolverine girl that they cloned from him.
Yep.
It's basically that, just kind of dealing with that. So it's if I remember right, I remember leaving it being like, this was actually a pretty good movie for, the atrocities the X-Men movies have put out in the past. This one was pretty decent. So it'll be fun. I'll go through and rewatch it again, and I might end up like having a different opinion. But like when it came out, I remember being like, oh, this is pretty good, even though it didn't cover mostly anything in the fucking Old Man Logan storyline. Besides, the mini Wolverine, which she was a great actor, and then Xavier with his dementia, which is pretty fucked up, actually. Patrick Stewart, man, and it's rated R, so it's like Patrick Stewart in a rated R movie. So it's a very different feel, and like the feel of the movie is pretty great. Very post-apocalyptic, very desolate, very very different than any X-Men movie you probably have seen. So. And that's what I remember from watching the first time. But yeah, I'll do a screening of that, then reread Old Man Logan, and we'll tackle that. I think it's a pretty big book, so we'll probably tackle the first few or all of it. Whatever we end up doing, we'll probably end up getting derailed and talking about Stuart Townsend halfway through it. So, Stuart Townsend, if you're watching, you're a terrible, terrible actor and should just not be in movies anymore. Sorry.
Thankfully, it seems that Hollywood agrees with us. So,
yeah, for the first time anyway. I mean, they ignored us when we're trying to get the Howard cut released. But Stuart Townsend being asked, that was an easy ask. Like, come on, guys.
Do we have anything? You have anything to plug that we haven't plugged already?
No, I'm still waiting for fucking Tommy to draw me concept art. So I might. I mean, he has his process, so it might take him a while. It might be a while before I can show screenies of that, which I would like to. I would, if you're watching, Tommy, which you're probably not because you're a shitty friend. But if you were watching, you should really work on that comic because the world needs a Macho Man Crow crossover more than you ever know, especially in these dire times. We need the Macho Man right now. We are the people to do it, so let's do it.
Yeah, so as a quick warning, I may not be able to do the episode on the 30th. We might need to skip that week as I am unfortunately going to have to move that weekend. We'll see what happens. So, but at some point in June, see if Tommy wants to do Conan. I'd love to do a Conan.
Oh, definitely. I'll hit him up. I think he needs to get a webcam. So I think he's really just like, he's technologically okay, so I think he just needs a webcam. So I'll hit him up. In worst case scenario, I'll send in a webcam and be like, Tommy, you need to do this. So
he just wants to come in audio. I don't really mind.
Audio's fine too. I mean, we'll figure it out. Like, I know he's interested in it. He wants to do it. Yeah. It's not just him being like, oh, I'll do it. No, he wants to do it. Won't shut the fuck up about Conan. Jack Kirby, if we get like a Jack Kirby appreciation like post, like he'll go off on it. Also, he'll give me shit because Hulk's like one of his favorite comic characters, and I just constantly shit on incestuous Hulk. We'll get an argument. It's like, Hulk's great. I'm like, what about the time where he fucked his whole family?
Look, if I'm going to say this. If he wants to come in next week and defend the honor of Bruce David Banner, I am happy to have Tommy come in and tell us how Mark
Tell
Millar got it wrong.
You know what, motherfuckers? This is the banner. You know, and he's as he's leaving the stream, he's doing the Hulk walk and looking back. You know? Gotta play the song as he leaves off. You know, shit like that. But yeah, no, we can do that. I'll hit him up. Oh shit.
Okay.
Second. Cool.
You right
thing
there?
with phones, you can knock them off pretty easily. But yeah, I'll hit him up. I'll see if I can get a time where works for him. We can. I would love to do a Conan. I know he's been reading a lot of the new Conan stuff that he's liked a lot. So we can let him pick something like, hey, what would you want us to look at? And we can read it and talk about it. I'll hit him up. I have some other friends too. I don't know. I mean, you probably have friends too that might like comics. I don't know. It'd be cool to kind of get some people into weigh on it. So I'll put some feelers out and see what we can do.
All right, man. Well, it's been awesome talking with you. It's been not great reading these Nightbreed comics, unfortunately. The first 4 were fantastic, and then they really fall off after that.
A lot like The Thing from Another World, like when they did the Thing adaptation, which we should go through at some point because it's a very short, very fun, very easy. But you get into like the second, you know, you got the first, second issues, the first one, the second volume, and then you get to that third one, then it's just like, it's a little fucking weird, but all right. So I can believe that. So
Thanks to you. Thanks to anybody who tuned in to check us out. Thanks to anybody who's going to check us out this next week. Tune in on Wednesday night, probably around the same time, 7 p.m., and where we're going to be playing
Wednesday night. Wednesday? Or
Wednesday.
Tuesday?
You want to do Wednesday?
I thought we do Wednesdays, or do you want to do Tuesdays?
Did I say Thursday?
You said Tuesday.
Tuesday, huh? Okay.
I don't know where the fuck that came from. Normally we do Wednesday. So Wednesday is what we'll go through. Wednesdays is our game night. So basically as we're working on, as we're getting set up, you know, eventually we'll get to see our reactions as we play the games. But for now, it's kind of an audio thing. Maybe I'll see if I can get Greg to stream, but my shit's kind of messed up right now with streaming games. But this Wednesday nights are the times we stream horror, maybe comic book inspired games. Really anything we feel like playing. And next week we're doing The Cat Lady, which I think Greg will fill you in a little bit about, and then we'll end this thing.
Cat Lady is a 90s styled adventure game, basically like a Sierra LucasArts point-and-click adventure game. It takes place from the perspective of a middle-aged woman who is racked with depression and other mental illnesses, decides to commit suicide and is recruited by something from another plane in order to expunge evil from the world. So it's effectively The Crow / Macho Man.
Yeah, it is. So if you're watching, Tommy, we're going to play a game that's inspired. That, you know, you can make the connection. It's like The Crow Macho Man. So that means we have to do these issues. We have to. Like I'm telling you, man, it's gonna look phenomenal. Look phenomenal. And it's man. Goths everywhere and wrestling fans merged into one. Greg's gonna be happy about that.
Yeah.
So we might even, you know, I don't know, like we'll probably get Greg to be like a creative consultant on it too, because he's way more in WWE than I was. I was a little bit, so you know.
To clarify, like wrestling and professional wrestling and goth rock, not that far apart. Like I don't really like if you watch Fields of the Nephilim music video from 1992 and you watch an Undertaker promo from 1992, they're basically the same thing.
Basically the same thing. I mean, what if we wrote a concept album in the style of The Undertaker writing Fields of Nephilim music? I mean, there you go. It just writes itself. That's a Grammy right there. Or whatever prestigious goth award that could be awarded to us for making shit work, I guess. But anyway, that's it for tonight.
So thank you from me. Thank you from Bon. And once again, until the day they finally do it, # release the Howard Cut.
They need to. I think we need to start aggressively sending in emails to them. Like, listen, dude, you did him dirty. Roland's dead. I'll be at your house in 15 minutes. We got some ideas to release the Roland Cut.
All right, man. I'll see you next. I'll see you next week.
See you Wednesday.
Bye.